It's clobbering time! It's clobbering time! Clobberanimo!
Ooh, Clobberanimo indeed. Welcome, my friends. Greetings, clobberers, clobberanimos, clobberoids, clobberettes, clobberdites, clobberuskis, and all those other time and wealth, and everyone else. The secret is to bang the rocks together, guys.
Whee! Clobberanimo!
We're finally getting that timed right. Welcome, my friends. Oh, my goodness. So sorry for the late start. We'll blame that on the chief engineer. Since he's not here tonight, that's why we're blaming him. Because you know engineers, right?
And they probably redesigned the whole sick bay, too. I know engineers, they love to change things.
We shout out to our dear friend, Mark D with a C, who cannot be with us this evening. We hope you can all settle for just little old us. Myself, Captain Clobby, and of course, the most wonderful first officer in the fleet, Commander R.M. Briggs. Hey there.
Evening, Clobby. How are you tonight?
Always better when you're here.
Oh, I love you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure. It's going to be so fun tonight.
Well, it is indeed. It is indeed, because we're hanging out with our dear friends at the clubhouse. What could be more fun than that?
Yes. Talking sci-fi.
Yes, indeed. Geeking out, and nerding out too when you're here. You do the nerd part, I do the geek part. Yes. There's a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll in this. I'm a little bit geek. I'm a little bit nerd. No, a lot nerd, a lot geek. So, yes, indeed. Like I said, the great Mark D cannot be with us this evening, but we shout out to him out there where he is, and he again congratulate him on his channel reaching monetization on YouTube, and that is very, very cool. So, number one, before I start out with some show notes and some shout outs, do you have any opening words, my dear, lovely first officer?
Well, thank you so much. I do. First, I have to say hail to the chat. Thank you to everyone who showed up for tonight's conversation. We are so honored that you are here, and we're looking forward to hearing all of your opinions and reading all the chatter and interacting with you. It's going to be great fun. You guys never fail to inspire and create the best conversations, and we're humbled by that. I also want to thank all the wrenches. Thank you, wrenches, for showing up here to make this community the most and the best it can possibly be. I have a new book coming out. I'm 4,000 words into the fourth story that I will be releasing only to Patreon. I did this because my fans asked, and I was hesitant at first, but then I listened to them because my fans know best. And as it turns out, they were right. So I have these wonderful patrons, 16 of them, and they're backing my new book. And I couldn't be more honored. And just, oh, it's sublime. I can't even believe this is happening to me. So I just want to thank Larry, Tony Stark, Sean Carter, Cardinal Sin, Shooter, Chris Persia, Scuba and Leslie Pete, Eric K, the great Eric K, and his beautiful baby Kirby, Enigmatic Drop Bear, Michael and Cassandra Beacom, Mark D with the C, Jill, Maximum Redstone, JK Cook, Dadman and the Dadman Clan, Lord and Lady Thoth. Thank you so much. And a word to the chat. If you want to join over on Patreon, please feel more than welcome. Anyone is welcome over there. I write classic science fiction. It's episodic. You won't get yelled at. Nobody's trying to shape your mind or tell you off and tell you what an awful person you are. It's just good old fashioned classic episodic science fiction. And the corporations aren't interested in it, but you probably are. So if you would like to read that book before anyone else, you can do that by joining my Patreon. And I just want to thank all of my readers and listeners who pushed me to do that, because your advice was fantastic. And I'm so grateful to you. And last but certainly not least, I'd love to say how much I love you, Clobby, and thank you so much for having me tonight. We're going to talk a little bit of Tales of Tomorrow, which is that wonderful short story tradition. And there's a tie-in to comic books this evening. And then I guess we're going to get into a little bit of UFO, right, boss?
Absolutely, isness. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Number one, love you. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you're all here tonight. Let's do some show notes. Then we'll do shout outs. What do we got? Oh, okay. Well, see, tomorrow night. Oh, by the way, big shout out and happy birthday to the great Tom Connors from Midnight's Edge After Dark, our good buddy.
Happy birthday, Tom. Love you, honey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and I love you too, Eric K.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Tom is a good friend of the show and stuff like that. And on this, of course, this is special birthdays to a lot of wonderful people that I know of now. And I did not know it. Now it's a great day. And so big shout out to Tom for that. And that was at his big birthday celebration. What a bunch of great outpouring of friendship and love for a good buddy, Tom Connors, who has just been a great friend to so many of us here. Let's see, show notes let's see. Oh, my good buddy Nick Weiser tomorrow night at the Friday Night Comic Shops Talk with Nick and the boys, which I frequent on Friday nights, of course. Duh. We'll be celebrating his 100th episode. So just gonna hang out with the boys, and I don't know what exactly we're gonna do, but we're gonna do it. And we're gonna.
Did he get my gift yet?
I'll ask him. I'll ask him since I talked to him tomorrow. He probably did.
He's probably looking for an explanation. I cannot wait until he receives it, and I hope it's for that show.
Oh yeah, well I will definitely. I'll ask him later if you remind me. I'll ask him if he got it. So he may have.
It's going to be funny when everyone finds out what happened. It's going to be hysterical.
Probably would have hollered at you if he got it yet. So maybe he didn't, but I will check because I don't know how long that kind of thing takes. But all right,
you're not that far from each other. Excited! I'm a big baby.
Yeah, wait till he gets it. And then, of course, Saturday night we'll be here. As always, my wonderful first officer and I. Now getting started, just getting into Deep Space Nine Season 7 with 4 more episodes. 9 p.m. standard, whatever time. Same Trek time, same Clobby channel. How about that? Then Sunday night, I do believe Mark will be back, and it'll be the Sunday Night Geekery at his newly monetized channel. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We always have a great time late on Sunday nights for that one. And on Monday night, I'm on all over the place as my great buddy J-Man's channel. We'll be reviewing 3 more installments into the chronological saga of the Legion of Superheroes, Silver through Bronze, 58 through 89. So looking forward to that. And then, of course, I'll have a regular episode of Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk later that evening. So all kind of fun stuff.
Times.
It is indeedishness. And let us shout out our dear friends who are with us in the chat tonight. How about it? Including, we're so happy to see the great bronze wrencher here, Eric K.
I love you. I hope you're not pushing yourself too hard, but it's nice to see you, in the chat, which means that things are a little bit better. I'm not going to make assumptions about you feeling entirely better because I don't think that's possible at this point. But I just want to say on behalf of Clobby and I how flattered we are that you are here, and we are so gratified that you are on the men. Everyone here loves you so much, and we're just sending you all of our love and support.
Absolutely. Buddy, so good to see you, man. So good to see you. Also, a wonderful friend of the show, the Vindicator Wrench of the North, the great Chris Persia. Brother, I always appreciate what you do, buddy. Great to see you.
Yeah, and beautiful show poster tonight as usual. Thank you for always being here for Clobby and I, especially in the promotion of Clobby's channel. You are just such an amazing friend. No one pays you to do that. You do that out of loyalty to your friends, and it's just sensational. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, brother. The great Wrench of Iron, D. Bud Martin. Always great to see you, bud.
Nice to see you, our resident mathematician.
I can't tell. I don't actually know who's here and who's not, really, because I have my eyes off the chat doing this. But great to see you there. I hope you're here, buddy. The great Lord Thoth, God of Wrenches, and the lovely Lady Thoth. Avon lives, and long live the Legion, my friend.
And little Lanceathoth, that little beagle, he needs some cheese, but not too much cheese. Could we get a little bit of cheese for Lance? He's the cutest little baby beagle in the whole world, and he's our resident Porthos. Could you chuck him some cheese? Just make sure LT and Lady LT don't see.
My partner,
you know what I mean.
My partner in crime on Earth be fellow Legionnaire reviewer extraordinaire, the great J-Man, the Wrench Without Fear. Yay.
Yeah, and I'm just going to take this time to interrupt and say how much J-Man is a wonderful person in this community who's always going out of his way to promote everyone around here. And so I go out of my way, even if I seem annoying, because I really love this person. This person and his wife totally backed my book. They went in, they did beautiful reviews for me. Not that I forced them. They went in, gave their honest reviews of my book. They've gone out of their way to be outstanding members of this community to one and all, not just me, to everyone. And they are charming, talented people. Jay's real name is Jason. He writes horror, and he has published some work. It's on Amazon. Go and find his channel, follow him, and go to his Amazon and buy his books. His wife is an award-winning Canadian poet, and she could also use some of your support. These are two fine Canadians, beautiful people in our community, and they could sure use a little pat on the back since they're patting somebody back themselves. So to Jason and his beautiful wife.
Master of the Cluboni, Hungry Boy.
Hey!
Kal-El, Super Wrench Supreme. Yes, buddy. Wheel to reach me on there. Maddie's daddy, Thor Vegas. Hey. That old rascal Fanty Outsidey.
Fanty!
And Clobberin Time's own Music Meister, the great Max Redstone.
Maximum Redstone.
All right. And let me see who was here with us to say hello, other than our wrenches, of course. Let's see here. Mr. Angel, what's up, Chef? Good
Evening,
to see
Chef.
you. All right, Jerry Kirk, great friend of the show as well. Let's see. Jay Picasso, hey there.
Evening, Picasso.
All right. Gwagnar. Donnie Pearson, what's up, buddy?
Evening, Donnie.
Fiona M, hello there, formerly known as Princess Fiona. Good to see you, Princess.
Sending you a curtsy.
Michael Beacom, what's up, buddy? And a shout out to Cassandra.
Good evening, Beacom. So nice to see
you. Let's see here. Sorry. Hang on a second. Damn it. Clearing them out. Little Scotty.
Little Scotty.
Hey there. Claude Selling. Hello. Always good to see you, my friend.
Evening, Claude.
I got it. I'm just vamping to get this even. Oh, X. Hello there, X. X marks the spot. Good I be reached for further comment. Good to see you, my friend.
Good evening.
John Rupus.
Reggie.
Dave C. What's up, buddy?
Dave.
Sean Carter.
Sean Carter from Mars.
DJ Ronnie G. What's
DJ
up?
Ronnie G.
Simply Steve. What's up, buddy?
Evening,
Hey.
Steve. Nice to see you, sweetheart.
All right, buddy.
Mwah.
Bob, almost. Let's make sure we've got everybody before we get going here. Brian Hepburn, my friend, good to see you. And that's everyone so far. Anyone else who pops in will, of course, be duly noted and appreciated. And Michael says, down in my office chair, Cassandra's in her comfort. Okay, we'll relay our oh man, well, we'll just relay our best to her. And yes, Fiona's coming up with some all kind of greatness things. Clobberoids, Clobbertrons, Clobberinos, Clobbsters, Clobbists, Clobbophiles, Clobnicks, Clabalons. Yeah, let's see. Wow. Clobbernauts. And you had like Clobberdites. I like that one.
But I like Clobbernauts.
I like them all.
Away!
I love them all. She's the best. Way to go, Fiona. Thank you so much. You're too kind. Oh, my goodness. Well.
Joe Dog, what's up?
Joe Dog, what's up, buddy? So, as you all know, in the clubhouse, it's just kind of we came up with it just so we can hang out and talk various things, of course. But we do some reviews here as well. But also there are other things. Actually, Mark won't be with us tonight. What we'll do, we'll handle our Tales of Tomorrow review, and then we'll do our UFO review, and then we'll just hang out. We'll if you want to ask any questions, as long as they're geek related, of course, we will just have a little back and forth, have a little fun with it. So I guess we should start getting with the reviews. What do you think?
That sounds really good. X, are you actually he? Because you just put Greek in. Well, you put like a Greek joke in the chat. Clubberides. Very cool. If you are actually he instead of X, I don't know why you're doing that. You might be doing that because you're religious. If you are Greek Orthodox and you are using the he for the cross, Christos, very, very cool. And I got your joke, and it's terrific. And welcome. Ooh, Pop Culture Republic is here.
Culture Republic. Hey there, buddy. Clobberado. Yeah, thank you there, Simply.
Clobberado. So, I think that's vibrato.
We have a show that you've been reviewing. How long have you been reviewing this show now?
Oh my goodness, forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever. At least a good while.
I don't. How many episodes have I done now? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
At least here, let me count from the ones I've been keeping. Oh, more than a dozen, Clubby.
Okay.
More than a dozen for sure.
Well, it's been, many shows for now, just episodes, or many clubhouses, anyway, I should say.
Yep. So lots of fun.
So yes, indeed.
It's my relentless pursuit to re-expose the public with short stories that have been adapted by very great, like really talented teleplay people in Hollywood. And it's that restorative process of short stories turned into teleplays. Then the corporation comes in and supports these teleplay artists, which in turn support all of these short storytellers. And this is where a lot of our short storytellers, our best short storytellers, and some of our best filmmakers got their start in Tales of Tomorrow and in the magazines of yesteryear that have now been forced into obsolescence. So I've been having a great time with it as we revisit these wonderfully talented people, these story makers and story crafters and story authors. It's just so much fun. I hope you're having fun too.
Oh, of course. I finally got to watch a couple of them, but I couldn't get the actual ones you were doing tonight, apparently, because of some engineer we won't name tonight that we blame everything on. It's more fun to do when he's here, though. It's no fun to blame him when he's not here. So, but well, there you go. And say, at least I made a picture for us. Yay!
I think that is just absolutely beautiful, and it's just so much fun, so much fun. X says that no, he's not Greek. Yeah, X. I was a fully assimilated, adopted Greek for about 20 years of my life, so very close to my heart. So when I saw the he, or X, I was, and then I saw. Yeah, anyway, don't worry about it. But cute joke. I loved it. It was adorable. I promise I won't
Yes.
speak Greek to you and freak you out. Okay.
Well, let us. Hey, I saw somebody. Oh, Joseph Dredd. Hey, what's up?
Red.
There's the judge. What's up, Judge? Good to see you. Captain
Woo.
James Terry Skywalker.
Skywalker.
What's up, dude? Well, may we proceed?
We should. So this week we hit a little bit of a stumbling block because there is so much to tell you. There is so much to unpack. So this week, if you're following along on Wikipedia, or Mark has given you access to his spreadsheet, but the same list is available on Wikipedia, we're exploring Tales of Tomorrow. And Tales of Tomorrow has just been released to the public. It is a short story collection featuring some of... Ooh, I should put this up, shouldn't I? How do we put this up?
Got it? What you looking for?
Well, it's not working.
I'll get it. Wait a minute. Oh,
got it?
There we go. I have to, yeah.
I clicked on it and twice and it didn't work.
Oh,
Okay, so these are these classic tales, and we've been moving through them, and they're in the public domain, but they had to be captured in various ways to be rescued from the fires, as it were, not only for film, but due to age. And so some of them are missing, and it's quite sad. And also, this is an international audience. So we've been covering them in a very weird way because we're trying to get them from all different types of sources. But I wanted to start with how I got it on my Fire TV and finish that, and then start hunting on the internet. So this week, we should be covering an episode called The Black Planet. Now, The Black Planet is season 1, episode 33. It was first broadcast on May 16th, 1952. It is written by a man by the name of Man Rubin. Man Rubin is a short story author for multiple publications. He did the magazine route, which we don't have anymore, which is quite sad because, you know, this is an entire art form. It's like we cut ballet out of society. It's that deep of a cut to get rid of short stories. But Man Rubin should be special to everyone in this room because he wrote for DC Comics. And he is a very well-respected author. Now, The Black Planet stars Frank Albertson, Horace McMahon, and Leslie Nielsen, the great Canadian who actually owned a wing to the university I attended to. So there's actually a Leslie Nielsen wing at a university I attended, one of them anyway. And it has been mislabeled in modernity, if you want to call it modernity, The Lost Planet. Now, The Lost Planet is different because it stars William Coburn and Meryl Albertson. So this has been a mislabeling. So I skipped right over to it, and I'm going to leave it until the end because these mislabelings sometimes can wind up at a dead end. So I'm going to leave it until I can find it. So The Black Planet was not available. I could not find it anywhere, which means it should be declared a missing episode. And The Lost Planet I didn't watch because I need to make sure that it won't be labeled further down the run. So I want to keep everybody organized. We already did World of Water, this disgruntled scientist, remember? The Little Black Bag, which was an amazing short story. You all were in love with it, and so was I. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. The Exile should be removed from your list. I did an extensive search on the internet. The Exile is not available. It was not recorded. As of this date, I would officially consider it lost. I checked archive.org. I checked YouTube. I checked to see if anybody had watched it on like Metacritic or IMDb. As of this moment, I believe Exile is lost, which is quite sad. We already covered all the time in the world, and we also covered the miraculous serum. So with all of that behind us, that crazy list that I did for all of you to keep you all on track, what we're left with this week are two actually really good stories. I had a really great time this week. So the first one we're going to talk about is Tales of Tomorrow, Appointment on Mars. This is season 1, episode 39, and it first aired on June 27th, 1952. It was written by a gentleman by the name, it's probably a lady, S.A. Lombino. And usually when it's two initials in the front, it's usually a woman saying, I write science, don't judge me. I'm DC Fontana. It's okay, you can trust me. Anyways, here is the summary. And since it sucks on IMDb, which is a cesspool of misinformation, I just write my own little summary so you guys know what's going on.
Way to go. Yeah, way to be.
3 astronauts travel to Mars on a mission of discovery and science. They uncover uranium deposits, enough to make them rich. They claim it like prospectors. One of the astronauts questions the accuracy of the atmospheric tests, these preliminary atmospheric tests they did. And they think that it's strange that the air is so compatible with them, and yet nothing grows around them. They conclude that Mars has breathable air and that it can be trusted. But this particular astronaut is lightheaded, and he has an unusual headache. As a matter of fact, he's never had a headache before, okay? Another one of the astronauts can't shake the feeling of being watched. Now, in the IMDb, he basically, the person just says in this summary, paranoia sits in. That's not what happens at all. Please ignore that. Do you remember that Planet of Terrors that English people translated to vampires in space? Yeah, it's that bad of a summary. It has nothing to do with him being paranoid.
Wow.
If you understand the true meaning of paranoid. Paranoid has a meaning. Anyway, they argue over leaving. They want to get out of there because they're starting to all feel a little frightened, and they're all their personalities are starting to change, and they're cognizant of it. So they bicker over this missing rabbit's foot. One of the guys has a missing rabbit's foot, and he begins to panic once his missing rabbit's foot is gone. 2 of the astronauts violently brawl while the third continues to work. So he's not quite as affected by what's in the air, okay? And that's the character Leslie Nielsen plays. And Leslie Nielsen's character eventually comes and breaks them up. And they're all so exhausted by everything that's happened that they eventually fall asleep, okay? One of the astronauts named Bart completely loses his mind. So he wakes up in the morning and he's snapped his crayons. And in the struggle, their captain, Robbie, who's played by Leslie Nielsen, Robbie and Bart wrestle for the gun. Each one of them has a gun. Each one of them has a gun, but Bart pulls his gun and they shouldn't, okay? So Bart is accidentally shot and killed. The third astronaut now loses his mind. So he wasn't far behind Bart. He snaps his crayons. There's nothing going on upstairs. A huge gunfight ensues. Though Robbie hasn't lost his mind, all 3 of the men are killed. Then the most wonderful thing happens that I'm not going to completely tell you about because I don't want to ruin the story for you. A wonderful conversation, very much like the Providers on Triskelion, ensues. So we have a set that looks very much like the cage. Obviously, this happened before the cage. And then we have this marvelous conversation that will instantly pop out to you if you're a TOSer. Oh my gosh, are these the Providers? And is this Triskelion?
Wow.
So, and you're thinking that they're the Providers. And so it's just marvelous to look back on this and see that this happened in 1952. And of course, Triskelion doesn't happen until much later. So given all of that, I thought that this story was absolutely perfect. This show occurs in fewer than 22 minutes. The story was amazing, this is 100% a 100% episode that you would see on Star Trek. Only it's kind of like a prequel. Like imagine if this were if somebody assembled this as the preamble to like a classic Star Trek episode. So it's beautiful to look at. One of the actors was on that show that I watched when I was a kid with the sissy character and the dad and the kid. I think they live with their grandpa. Anyways, I forget the guy's name.
Mhm.
And of course, it's got Leslie Nielsen in it. And this looks and feels like Star Trek before it was Star Trek. This is a 10 out of 10.
What now? So you're saying Leslie Nielsen not only plays a ship captain, did you say there's a character named Robbie in that one? Did you say?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Years before he played the Captain J.J. Adams in Forbidden Planet, and there was a Robbie robot in the episode.
I know.
And it was similar to Margaret Arman's idea for the episode of Gamesters of Triskelion.
Yeah, I know.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
And Man Rubin wrote this one, you said?
No.
That was another episode.
S.A. Lombino.
I know, you mentioned Man Rubin earlier, but I couldn't tell. But you mentioned Man Rubin earlier or something.
No, Man Rubin is for the episode. Man Rubin actually wrote the next episode we're going to cover. Man Rubin wrote The Black Planet.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And he also wrote The Lost Planet.
Because he used to write for like some of those Mystery and Space DC comics and stuff like that.
So
but anyway,
this
go ahead.
This is basically, these are the seeds of Star Trek. And it's just marvelous. Anyway, it's like I said, this is Star Trek before it's Star Trek. It's a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
If you love Star Trek, you need to watch this.
My goodness.
Yeah, you need to 100% watch this.
I will. I would have watched it if I'd known I was supposed to.
It's
but blame it.
Absolutely amazing.
Oh, I will watch that tonight.
Yeah, I don't have access to that. I don't have access to that document of MARC's anymore because
Mark.
Well, no, Google actually told all the universities that alumni are no longer allowed to access YouTube and Google Docs and things like that. So anyone who had contact with me before through my university, like I still have that email, but I can't interact on Google Docs and I can't interact on YouTube anymore. So I have a new YouTube account that's just for interacting with folks, but I can't access that document anymore. Otherwise, I would have sent it to you. So I don't know if anyone has watched this episode, but I mean, you have to watch it. I mean, you have to watch it.
That's true, Fayette. He wrote some Rockford Files, some $6 Million Man, and much stuff, and a whole lot of stuff. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's we hadn't got to him yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just meant you threw the name out there, and I guess I was.
No, I don't mind at all.
No. Anyway, so I wish I'd seen this one. I had no idea. I just watched the next two in line from what you did last week because I had no way of knowing. Because I wanted so much to finally catch up to you. Yep. I got to get that stupid list, I guess, because
it's on Wikipedia.
I got to get it from Mark. He just forgot. He's busy.
Yeah, it is on Wikipedia. And I know lots of people are following along on Wikipedia, but yeah. So wow. Very, very cool. And I won't reveal the closing conversation, but it totally feels like The Providers. Like you stand up in the room and you go, oh my gosh, this is another seminal work. I'm watching a seminal work. I've said this like maybe 3 times now. Gene Roddenberry watched Tales of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he was young and he watched it and he thought it was absolutely amazing because you can see the influences here. There's so much homage going on here that it's hard to deal with. And nothing is copycat. It's nothing that, you're going to walk around like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Donald Sutherland with your fingers stuck out and your mouth agape. No, nothing like that. It's just it's so intertwined into our lore and into our community and into our communal love of science fiction that it's just a beautiful, beautiful tangle. It's like looking at a beautiful braid. It's marvelous. Nice. You have to watch it.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
And we'll move on to the next one. So the next one that is available that you should be watching, if you've been following along with Tales of Tomorrow here on CLOBBERIN Times. So if you're one of those fine folks, your next episode is called The Duplicates. The Duplicates is season 1, episode 40. This first aired on July 4th, 1952. It was written by Man Rubin. And I think that this may have been one of Man Rubin's short stories. So this would be one of the things that he wrote that was written so well that it was probably in a magazine somewhere. However, this is just speculation, and I'll explain why. IMDb is a cesspool of lies and just wishful thinking and just crap. It's user-generated information and it's crap. It's as bad as Wikipedia, and they're all better, but not much better than Memory Alpha. But let me explain why, with my background in publishing and communications and technology. Man Rubin can stand alone. He doesn't need to write. And when he typically writes for this show, he writes by himself. So here we have Man Rubin listed. But then we have someone who developed the teleplay. I don't think he was the co-author, which is Richard M. Smith. And Richard M. Smith sounds a lot like a nom de plume to me. So this sounds like somebody taking on a pen name. So think what you will of that. It's only speculation. We can't get into any more. Maybe there was somebody was a little ashamed of doing this or whatever back then. I mean, this show is affiliated with people like Arthur C. Clarke. This is where he apparently, from what I've read, this is where he got his start. So something funky going on here. I believe Man Rubin wrote this, and someone, maybe his real name is Richard M. Smith, who knows, helped him turn it into a teleplay, which is how this process is supposed to work. And here's the summary that I got for you folks. A kind man is down on his luck. He inexplicably loses his job after 8 years. His wife is cruel to him, mocking and taunting him. She's awful. She's absolutely a monster. She's cruel and mean, a despicable person. He applies for a job which pays $240,000 for a 3-week experiment. He learns that they have arranged for him to be fired so he could be successfully recruited for, and now we learn, a mission in space. He is debriefed by a panel, told that there is a duplicate or a parallel planet which is attempting to duplicate itself. And we're led to believe that it is identical to Earth in every way. Now pay very close attention here, because something wonderful happens. The panel shows the gentleman this surveillance evidence. They say that he's a very capable engineer. Engineers, they love to change things. And that he's trustworthy, that he's perfect for this job, given the way that he has developed his career. And he's shown compelling evidence. And now suddenly he believes what he's being told. They recruit the man to stop the duplication by sending him to poison his duplicate, thereby breaking the cycle. But there's a twist. Oh, it just blew my mind when this twist happened. It's just crazy. They're on Jupiter, not Earth.
Oops.
So Earth is the one that is the planet that's trying to duplicate itself.
Oh, wow.
Earth is the planet that must be stopped.
Yo.
Our protagonist is not human, or he is of the first humans, and it's never clarified. He goes to Earth and he poisons his duplicate. He comes home and they give him $250,000. Now, obviously, this is a mistake because you know that the contract was for $240,000, but this is live recording, so don't be too hard on it. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it is going to mess with your mind when you find out how this poor guy died and what happened afterwards. So this is a must watch. This is a terrific episode. I only gave it an 8.5 out of 10, but I would like to actually change that to a 9 out of 10. So I'm just going to erase this. And I'm going to change it to a 9 out of 10. Yeah, so this is great story writing by Man Rubin. I really enjoyed these characters. I enjoyed the 2 twists. So we get this first twist where the murder is actually a guy from Jupiter is doing the murder. And then the twist at the end that I have not yet revealed, and I won't do it because I want you to go and watch this and enjoy it. 9 out of 10. And that is...
What's the duplicates? Gotcha.
Okay.
Nice.
So let me just read that again in case Larry shows up later or gets this on a download, or just does a rewatch or a re-listen. The first one is Appointment on Mars. That's Star Trek in every way, born and bred in the Star Trek tradition, and it's marvelous. And then this second one that is just great fun, written by this DC Comics guy who also wrote amazing short stories and made quite a wonderful career out of it. This gentleman by the name of Man Rubin. And the duplicates, once again, so much accomplished in 22 minutes. It's remarkable.
Apparently wrote a lot of television.
Yeah.
Wow.
Terrific. And that's it, boss. That is my segment, Tales of Tomorrow.
Tales of Tomorrow. And that, yeah. That's fantastic. Well done, number one. I really want to watch those episodes. I promise, because I'm in the mood to watch the show, and I've been watching it, and I just don't. The 2 weeks in a row, I couldn't find out which ones I'm supposed to watch. I'm so mad at me. I'm mad at me. You should all be mad at me. I don't blame you.
That's the guy's name. In the duplicates, it stars Darren McGavin.
Darren McGavin. Oh no, really? Oh man,
yeah.
I love that guy.
And I think he actually won. Yeah, I think he won like an award or something for it. I'm not sure, but he like the critics really liked his performance. Yeah.
Look, he's one of the greats. He's great as Carol Kolchak, of course. One of my favorite shows, Kolchak, the Night Stalker. I don't know if you ever saw it, but great show. And yeah, he's always.
I watched Kojak when I was young.
No, not Kolchak. Kolchak.
Kolchak? No, I don't know about that.
Kojak was Telly Savalas, the cop.
Kolchak that's Telly Savalas, Selson Blue guy. But it's also because I can't read and listen to you at the same time. So I'm actually a bad person because I was quickly looking up the guy from the show that I used to watch, and I forget what it's called. Clubby, I need your help here. The guy's name is Brian Keith.
Yeah, he was on, was it Family Affair?
Family Affair, that's the name of the stupid show.
Hardcastle and McCormick.
Yes, I remember him from Hardcastle and McCormick. He was the captain, right?
He was the Hardcastle. He was Hardcastle.
Yeah. No. I'm mixing it up with another cop show. Sorry, everyone. I watched a lot of cop shows when I was young.
He was the judge, and he was on an episode of Deep Space Nine that we reviewed from like season 2 or something.
So Brian Keith is in the Providers episode, and wow,
nice.
Yeah. He doesn't snap his crayons quite as bad as William Redfield, who plays Bart. But yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so that's it. And just great fun. Lots of connections to comics. Lots of connections to like really talented authors. Lots of connections to short stories.
TV,
to TV, to Star Trek, to great episodes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. That's great stuff there. It was in the Parent Trap. That's the original Parent Trap. That's right. Captain James C. Skywalker. That's right. Yeah. Skywalker. Great stuff. Love it. Cool. Shall we? What do you think? Do you want to move on to get our UFO review done, or what do you think?
Well, sure. Let's do it.
We've got our UFO episode tonight, folks.
I 100% thought that Mark would be reading tonight. And I don't have a summary, and I need to tell everyone that this week's UFO episode, Confetti Check, A-OK, has no Wikipedia page.
I could find a summary if you'd like.
Yeah, there's one
Let's say.
from Dawn on IMDb, but if you wanted to read one of the summaries or a synopsis, Clobby, that'd be great. Could you launch us?
I could find one here.
Folks, we're covering UFO in production order, so I'm just going to get the information out of the way. Confetti check? A-okay.
Okay.
Has no Wikipedia page. This is season 1,
There's something
episode
out there.
22 in the USA. It is episode 7 in ITV, which is how I watched it. Because I'm Canadian and, we have one foot in Britain and one foot in America. And this is production code 14. And so we're watching it as the 14th episode when I watched it as the 7th episode. And it first aired on July 10th, 1971. Right? Simply Steve, that's exactly where my brain went. I was like, was he the captain on Starsky and Hutch? Simply Steve, do you have any idea how many cop shows I watched? Like, only now that I'm like over 50 do I realize how many cop shows were out, like in the 70s and 80s. And they were all good. Well, at least I remember them all being good. And so now they're a little fuzzy. But you want to know why? After I grew up, Simply Steve, I never watched television. Like ever. I never watched TV. I didn't enjoy TV, so I haven't had a chance to rewatch things like other people.
No, Brian Keek wasn't on there. He wasn't on Starsky and Hutch.
No. I think that that Simply Steve is joking around with me that I'm mixing up all my cop shows. That's all.
Oh, okay. IMDb doesn't have great synopsis, but fans do it better than most people, I guess. I mean, I can basically give you a very basic one, and we could just talk about it. I mean,
okay. And I have extensive notes too that we can launch.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. So I'll just basically, one fan on IMDb says Ed Straker flashes back to the beginning of Shadow and recalls the many sacrifices he had to make to get the organization started and to be the commander of the new ultra secret agency, including the pressures it put on his marriage to his new bride, Mary. Shadow was so secret that Ed couldn't even share with Mary what he did and why he was often at work until the wee hours of the morning. Ultimately, Ed is faced with the hardest decision of his life: give up his role as chief of the world's most vital defense against extraterrestrial invaders, or sacrifice his marriage on the altar of duty.
That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what some fan basically is putting in.
Yeah, that's a great launching off point. But once again, I think that's IMDb, right?
That's IMDb.
So everyone,
I'd probably find a better one. I was just giving you a basic rundown.
No, I think you're marvelous, and I love you, and thank you very much. But everyone who's listening at home, it's very important for everyone to realize that this fan has no idea what they're talking about, and they need to just close their lips, because that's a horrible synopsis. Although I'm sure it was the best one on IMDb.
It's the only one on IMDb.
Ed is a colonel he's a colonel in the military, and what's worse is that he's military's secret police. And so there's absolutely, he's an integral or integral, depending upon where you're from, part of military intelligence. Ed can't just quit his job. He's not working at Dairy Queen. So I appreciate that people are like, the man has to choose between his job or his wife. Ed doesn't have a choice. Ed does not have a choice. Good evening, Lemon Pie.
Hey, Lemon Pie. Welcome.
So,
oh, Jesus.
Oh,
I love it. They got some. Yeah, some of them don't give you much at all. Straker walks around and says things in this episode. There you go.
Yeah, and
wow.
And Mary Straker, she's quite something.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I mean, wasn't easy for her either, and she was never told anything, and he never could explain anything to her. And I hate to say I'm sympathized with it. And I think it's not one of their fault. That just, what was he supposed to do? He couldn't say anything to her, and she can't. How can she understand when he can't explain even the slightest thing to her? Pretty rough.
Well,
It's rough though, isn't it?
I mean, I
for
love
both
you.
sides.
I love you very much because let me just start off by saying that I'm going to heavily criticize Mary tonight,
I know you
but
are.
that's not to detract from anything you say. You want to know why? You're an old-fashioned Southern gentleman, among the most charming human beings ever born. The Southern gentleman. I love Dr. McCoy. Melts my heart every time. That man could be 480 and I would still go out on a date with him. He's that cute. So I like the Southern gentleman. And you are definitely a Southern gentleman. And I like the way that you view women. I think that you're incredible. You're old school and you're incredibly manly. And I find that very attractive. I think that's really amazing. So I mean absolutely no disrespect because it's
Okay.
guys like you that just make women swoon. I love that. But when I go after Mary this evening, you're
Go
going to
for
have
it.
to turn your head. You're just gonna
No,
have
I
to- oh
no. I
no!
mean, no, it's fine. I knew you were gonna. You never liked her from. You didn't like her in that last episode, which was a little bit different.
It was
That one, she was horrible. But
yes.
before that, I mean, this one's a little different to me. But look, Michael Beacom, I just watched that movie the other night, and I'm with you. When 007, did I resign? We are not a country club 007, right? Exactly. But it's not. I don't. There's not really analogous in the situation with a wife or anything. But I hear you. And Straker, remember, he didn't even think about quitting. He thought about. I'm sure he thought about it. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, luckily he stayed tough and didn't quit.
Yeah, and the thing is that
Neither
billions
did
of
Bond.
lives are at stake here. And one of the
Yep.
reasons why I have a very different view of Mary Straker is because I'm in Canada. So when I watched UFO for the first time, like when it appeared here, so the first time that it appeared here in Canada, I started watching it, which I think it's around 2 years ago or so. Because of that, because I'm Canadian, I watched the ITV presentation of it. So I watched this as my 7th episode, not my 14th. So right off the hop, I was like, oh, Mary's a steaming bag of dog poo.
Killing me. Look, I'm not defending her. I'm just saying, I'm trying to be fair. Just saying, he was not even able to explain to him, and he was in a tough position. I mean, to her, and she was told nothing ever. Just, I'm going to be out late no matter what. Boom, and he couldn't say it. It's saying
Yeah, and the thing is
Same with
that
a
you
tough
take
spot for
that
both
sort
of
of
them.
stuff on the chin because you're extremely manly. And so when you see a woman, that's just who you are, like behind the scenes and in front of the camera. That's who you are, Clobby. You're actually the thing. That's like you're a big teddy bear of a guy like that, and you are very, very kind and gentlemanly to women. It's just who you are. However, I am not. I do not look like the thing, and I am not kind and gentle to women. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I am.
It gets me nowhere. No, look, hey, I've always said women are brutal to each other, and that's fair enough because guys are brutal to each other too, so it works.
They are, but lately, I think that let's just put it this way. I think that this episode has a lot to say to the modern woman. It amazes me how socio-historical context can really draw someone toward reality. And I think a lot of people who are super preachy and have a lot to say, especially on social media, could watch this episode and maybe realize how things were in socio-historical context. And we'll get into that when we do my note.
He still was out of line with one thing that he did, and I think you know what I'm talking about. But go ahead.
I agree. I totally agree.
He's not perfect either.
No, she was hysterical, and he should not have done that.
Gotcha. We're on the same page because I'm not arguing with you on anything. But I just don't have a good synopsis other than, well, you can basically lay out the synopsis with your notes pretty much, or I could just simply say for those who haven't seen the episode, it's basically through a series of remembrances, or as we call them over here, flashbacks, the early days, the beginnings of Straker's career with Shadow, and the beginnings of Shadow, sparked off by one of his Shadow personnel announcing that his wife is having twins. I mean, children. And Shadow remembers. Shadow was to me. Straker remembers his life a little bit, about 10 years previous, about how it went when he was first starting out with Shadow, and what he basically lost and what he gave up. So it's a flashback to that, but there's a lot of also not just his life, some really interesting bits I thought that were flashbacks to the beginning of Shadow itself, which I thought was interesting as well.
Yeah, they definitely use this to build characters, but not in a contrived way.
Right.
Yeah, and you're getting information all over the place about all these different characters. And so, we're watching this in production order, which I'm usually a huge fan of. And I think it's interesting because, I've watched the series a few times through now, but I really do feel like I could make an argument for definitely making sure that you watch a confetti check. Okay. Watching that in the ITV order, which would be the Canadian and British order,
and not production,
because you get so much information from this particular episode about so many people, and it informs the rest of the episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe
they probably should have. I mean, production. There's I don't know why they produced it when they did, but yes, showing it earlier is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, and I can't believe I'm saying that because what a huge fan
I know you
am.
like production order.
I do, because I find it very revealing as far as storytelling goes. It can reveal how strong the writing is, how strong the ideas are, what's going on behind the scenes. It's, oh boy.
Do you want to shin kick Steve or shall I?
Oh, that I don't know. I don't think I want to shin kick him for that one.
That's good.
I think that might.
Good, Steve. We'd like it'll allow it.
I think that's that's glorious. I think foreshadowing is I think that's gold, baby.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, for Star Trek, I think it's incredibly important especially for TOS to watch in production order. It is so revealing, and there's so much stuff going on. And if you want to discuss production notes, what's going on behind the scenes, if you want to, dig up some of that storytelling and talk about that storytelling, production order is definitely the way to do it. But I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think that UFO is an argument for ITV instead of USA or Prodcode. So I'm saying it. I'm putting it out there. And this is one of the episodes. And the reason why is we learn about so many people. And when you wait until 14, you're like, huh?
Maybe Jerry Anderson arranged it that way.
Yeah, because as 7, wow, it's very good as 7.
Yeah. Excellent. And it's a very. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's a very useful episode. I don't think it should come before a question of priorities, though.
Nope, it should not.
That one is definitely before this.
Yeah,
I think so anyway.
Yeah, I mean, even at the cocktail party, she admits that she is marrying military intelligence. That it's a military wedding. Everyone at her reception is from military intelligence. She realizes that this is all, in secret, but
yeah.
So the whole Babe in the Woods routine that plays out with the production code, I don't think is fair to men. And I think it's quite mean, but once again, what I'm going to say is very controversial. It's enough to get me canceled.
No,
but
go for
I'm
it.
actually not. I don't care if I get canceled because I think that it's very important to arrive at truth, no matter whose feelings get hurt. And I try my very best to be respectful of other people and to always uphold the most polished manners I can muster. But at the same time, I'm not gonna alter my opinion for people because of how they feel or what they might say about me. I can't do that.
Go for it. By the way, Ezra Goldstein, shalom.
Hey, shalom.
Good to see you. Fiona mentioned something like that. She says, my husband can't talk about his job, neither can I, and that works well for us. But I've often wondered if it was one way, he would be okay with it, but I'm not sure I would be. Just if it was one way, would he would be okay with it? I'm not sure I would be, just being honest. It's fair enough. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly lost. She says she certainly lost boyfriends because she couldn't talk about what she does. So yet, look, yeah, it's complicated. Basically, is what she's saying, and I certainly understand that. So
I agree.
So,
And I think that it depends upon who you marry. When I start talking about things like Derrida or dynamic normalization and theories of Foucault, and I start talking about semiology, and I start talking about sociology and things like this, I think it can be very off-putting to a layperson, and you're speaking in jargon. And I think some people are very attuned to marrying someone who is from their own field, who is their intellectual equal, and that you're both doing the same things, because it can feel like there's harmony. But then there are a lot of people out there who fall in love with someone who doesn't do the same thing they do, and may not even do something from their realm. Like in my case, I have a refereed SOY for a doctorate in social science. And, I specialize in things like critical theory and linguistics and semiology and things like this. And so, that's really different than what my husband does for a living. My husband and I have been really close friends for 29 years. We've been together for 17 and married for 9. And he does something completely different than I do. And he's not in academia, and he's not in STEM per se. He is actually cultivated a career as a programming engineer. And so he makes $1 million machines, and he conceives them through his mind. He programs them, makes blueprints, and then they're rendered. And so when I begin talking about my job, I'm sure his eyes glaze over, because he's like, oh my gosh, why? And of course, when I'm with my friends, I know for a fact that he's like, why are we talking about this? And then when he's around his friends, and they're all talking about building like a $1.5 million needle. Or one time he worked for a company that built the inspection robots for NASA. When he starts talking about the things he has to do to make those things, my eyes glaze over. So we're both in STEM, but we both do something completely different. So I don't want to open his head like a can of worms every day. And I know he definitely doesn't want to open mine.
Fair enough. It's a backup.
So I think it really depends upon what you're looking for in marriage. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, right? Not that I'm an expert. I'm just saying that I think people want different things socially, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So here are my notes so that we have a launching off point, and so I could probably make Clobby laugh. I'm not going to lie. Making Clobby laugh is one of my life's most sought after pleasures.
I love it.
My offspring and my husband also love it when Clobby laughs. So it's like my mission to make him laugh, because it brings joy.
I challenge you. You won't make me laugh this time, I promise.
Okay, so Gray becomes a dad. He has twins. I absolutely love that Straker says, "You owe me another cigar."
Yeah.
It's just so cute, and everyone knows I think that Straker is such a great leader. This episode in ITV order shows why I so strongly dislike Straker's wife, Mary, his ex-wife, Mary. She married a man in uniform, literally and figuratively. I love Ed Straker, and I love Ed Bishop. And when I get to see him as Ed Bishop with his beautiful hair combed back, he is a striking man, even though he's not my type. She knew from the beginning that he was in the military intelligence. This was a military wedding, and he was even called away from his honeymoon. She knew what she was signing up for. She drove away from her wedding reception, and he was still in uniform. This episode is interesting because we learn that Shadow is entirely organized by military rules. So that gets thrown down. We learn about the body snatching and the organ harvesting. So as you can see, I'm building my argument for why this should stay in the ITV watching order, right? Because you also learn that these aliens aren't just like these benevolent creatures that we're oppressing or that we're frightened of, and so we're killing them. We've learned very early on in the ITV watch order that they are body snatching and they're harvesting organs. So they'll actually stop you on the street, as is learned in this episode. They'll kill you. They'll take whatever organs they require from you, and then they'll leave you for dead. We learned that the world's governments voted for Ed over Henderson. So this is very vital in understanding the tension between Ed and Henderson on a go-forward basis. Once again, I'm forming my argument for this being episode 7, not 14. Ed's wife was a selfish, ignorant baby from the start. I don't like women who play mind games, whether with men or other women. Ignoring him and punishing him for working does not work. And it's important to say this because she doesn't work. She doesn't go to school. They have no kids. And it is very likely that they have a maid. They certainly have a decorator, an interior decorator. So it's really important to go and get yourself a hobby or get yourself some friends. Sitting at home waiting for a fly to hit the web so that you can roll on over, sting the fly and wrap it up and wait to suck the living blood out of it is not a very kind thing to do, especially if it's your husband. So and then we find out a little bit later in the episode that she's Preggers. So great job, Preggers Magoo. I also hate her mother. And I know hate's a strong word, but any mother who is so awful to pollute her own daughter's mind and to poison her daughter's heart and then not live with the consequences of that, but to have the daughter live with the consequences of that. And it's not true. So she did it without evidence, is a mother who is rotten to the core. I'd like to put her in front of Medusa and open her eyes so Medusa could turn her to stone. Mary needs to get a grip. Mary needs to get a hobby. Mary needs to get a life. Waiting for him to make a mistake and her isolating herself to concentrate solely on him is effing weird. It's creepy and requires blow dart level meds. Okay. Straker comes home every single night. There's only one night where he doesn't come home. He's working straight through, but he comes home every night. And what I don't like about this is I've had military in my family. My father-in-law was in the military. He actually did all the electrical on nuclear submarines. He also taught people in Texas. So very, very gifted individual. And his family didn't have him around all the time. So Straker is in the military, but he's coming home every night. Many people don't have this luxury, especially in the military. It is beyond goofy and brain dead to assume that you're going to marry somebody in the military and they're going to be home for dinner every night. Also, Nina Barry is a television goddess. And and this episode, what's so important with this episode is that we learn that Nina has been with Shadow since Shadow's inception. So she was actually there before Gay. And that's really important because something's going to develop that I don't want to spoil for anyone. So I'm not going to give away any surprises. I also wrote in my notes, the mother having a PI follow Ed could get Ed killed. Okay. It could get the PI killed too. It was a reckless, irresponsible thing to do, which also shows that her mother is the dragon lady. Next, I believe Mary is a psycho. I love the symbolism of the rain against the window pane. So these are his tears on the window pane, and he's not allowed to shed tears. So I love that the Andersons added symbolism here by having him stand in front of the window at the hospital and having the world cry for him, to have nature cry for him, to have the walls cry for him, but he cannot cry for himself, including when he says, my wife doesn't want to be with me anymore. I love my child, but I will choose my wife if I must make that choice. So it's quite lovely. And then at the end, Ed gives furlough to Gray, though though no one gave Straker furlough. I love this man. And that is
Yeah.
all I have in my notes, boss. Want to talk about
Nice.
some of it?
Yeah, it was again. It is a very sad episode. I guess the striker can't pick them, right? And that's the one thing you can't do. Usually, the coolest characters, even in fiction, of course, have crappy choice and choice of wives. They usually either get killed or they turn out to be total nuts like this. This woman, you're absolutely right. She was selfish. She knew she was marrying someone in the military. He was coming home all the time. Yeah, she should have got a life. But she didn't. She treated him like crap. No question about it. So I'm not, no sympathy for her. Even though I know it was tough for her, she should have found a way to deal with it. Or don't marry someone in the uniform.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm with you. Absolutely. You convinced me.
I love the way the Andersons teach us that Ed has horrible taste in women.
Yes, he does. Which, hey, so did Kirk. What are you gonna do?
Yes.
So, I mean, well, Kirk always either picked them that it was going to be like some kind of dalliance or a fling, or and someone like Carol Marcus who wasn't going to leave her career and he wasn't going to leave his, So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Carol was beautiful, and what I really loved, I love that you brought up Carol, because when you bring up Carol, what you're bringing up is a woman who got up and got on with it, and if Kirk and Carol would have stayed together, they would have been a dynamic duo. They would have been unstoppable together because she was a genius. And she wanted to cultivate her own learning. She wanted to edify herself and to make her life worthwhile, not through extrinsic rewards, but through intrinsic rewards. She wanted to leave her mark on all of well, you can't say humanity, but to leave her mark on the universe by doing something good, something worthwhile, and making her life count by doing something for everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
for the universe.
She had her life. Yeah, she wanted the son in her. So, yeah, that was. I mean, she wasn't Mary. In other words.
Yeah,
no, she wasn't married. And again, no, Miramani was different because he wasn't himself, but she was lovely now, J.T. Kirk, and also Edith Keeler was a wonderful person. I'm just saying, he either picked the wrong one or just had bad luck, like a Cartwright's kid,
Mm-hmm.
like a Cartwright who's always had to pick up a lovely woman and they get killed,
Yeah, and when this was written in 1968, like, as much as it's going to get me canceled, and like I said, I don't care if I get canceled, so don't send me any DMs. But in 1968, when you were like, I'm not saying life was perfect. I'm not saying that. So don't write me anything. I don't care. Don't write me anything. But no one can deny the fact that it was a very dynamic situation, but there were many women who benefited from that. There are many women who benefited from, and I'm not saying that that's everyone's choice. Certainly wasn't my choice. I became an academic, but that some women got to stay at home. And they got to develop themselves and raise their kids. And by this time in the storytelling of humanity, women were pushing more and more to have their rights, to get out into the workforce, to be in charge of themselves and their own lives. And so that's what UFO's doing. It's pushing into the future. And so, but it's also very important, as somebody who grew up in the 1970s, that we recognize that it's very easy to say that somebody who goes away to work 12 and 16 hours a day, and he comes home, and for his wife to say, where were you all day? You work too much. You don't even know your kids. Your kids don't even love you. They only love me. And that happens sometimes. Okay. And it's important that we recognize that. When one person doesn't work and another person is working 12 to 16 hours, or someone has to work, on an offshore oil rig, or someone has to go and build a pipeline in Brazil, it's very important that people realize that what facilitates the house and the children and the food that is on the table are these people going off and doing this, whether they're men or women. And so for me, I like folks to recognize and and resonate with the whole truth, not just parts of it that make you feel like there's a villain and a hero in a story, because it's a lot more complicated than that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No canceling around here anyway. You know that.
Yeah.
Free to say anything. So
I feel sorry. Do you see where I'm coming from in this? It has nothing to do with gender or gender wars. It has nothing to do with that.
No.
This is about humanity. And when somebody goes off to work and you don't know, but you're pretty sure because you've married military intelligence that he's off saving the world or your country in the very least. And what he does, he's not allowed to talk about, or he'll be killed. And she knows that. And he's working 12 to 16-hour days. And she's basically in a mini mansion doing whatever the hell she wants with an interior decorator and has everything she needs. It's really weird that she didn't have a hobby, that she didn't go do something. And I like that part of this story because it shows that some women did drop the ball. Women aren't perfect, just like men aren't perfect. It's important to cultivate yourself and not look to somebody else to cultivate you.
Yeah, and she, like you said, there's all kinds of things she could have done. He could. I mean, I don't know. They didn't really. Straker's not the most forthcoming type anyway. He wasn't going to make any very deep emotional appeals to her. Although he wanted to, you could tell he wasn't the kind of guy to say that sort of thing. Like say something like, "Look, I can't talk about what I do, but can you trust me that it's important enough that when I'm out there, I'm doing it because I have to be, not because I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm late, when I'm missing all this time, it's not because I want to be, and not because I don't want to be with you. I'm doing this because I have no choice. It's a job, and you married the job too. So we never really see any scenes like that. But my presumption is that they've had that conversation, and she just doesn't see past her own little bubble there.
Yeah, and it's important that that people realize I lead a very, very private life, but at the same time, there was a reason why I was adopted. And so for me, when I see people pretending to be the figures in stories, or I see people being portrayed as the figures in stories for what represents a family, I'm looking from the outside in, and I have a little bit of life experience that's a little bit harder, a little bit tougher, a little bit more realistic about what goes on in the world, and certainly what went on at that time. And so, lots of moms got to stay at home, and some of them wanted to be out there busting their butts and becoming geniuses and having their own careers and becoming CEOs and doing it all and leaning in, and all. There are women that did that. But there were also women who stayed at home and watched soap operas and really tried to control their husbands. Just like there were some great guys out there who worked 12 and 16 hours a day, and nobody should have been saying to them, who are you? You're not even here. You're not even a part of our family. You're a terrible father. Meanwhile, he has to work 12 to 16 hours a day, or they are out on the street. And then there was also the a-holes who went out and cheated on their wives. It's just very important in our storytelling narratives that have become very polarized in this day and age on social media, that we reel all of that BS in, we reel it all in, we put it in a bucket, and we throw it on shore, because that's not something that we should be entertaining or consuming. We really need to be more honest about our relationships and what transpired and how that power dynamic worked. I don't think there are a lot of men out there who really enjoyed working 12 to 16 hours a day, not knowing their children and being treated like a stranger by their wives. So that sort of happened too, right? So, and like I said, I'm somebody from the outside looking in, so I can appreciate everybody's position and different levels of guilt and innocence. And so I like this story because it shows that Mary was, and that Straker was a pretty good guy, pushed nearly to the edge by a screaming lunatic. And that's it, boss.
There you go. Hey, Bushpan Down, welcome.
Hey, Bushpan Down.
Fiona says, in this case, I think if Mary knew exactly what her husband did, she would still have ended it. She needed his attention, demanded it, and it didn't matter if he was keeping the planet safe. Yes. I think that's probably could be the case for sure. Yeah.
God, I love you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Love you,
I think
Fiona.
that's definitely quite the possible for sure. Mm-hmm. So the episode, again, what's really interesting about this one is this is one of the few, if probably not the only one, that's not science fiction. It's just a look in. It is, again, unlike some shows that don't earn this. and do it like too much of this kind of stuff, just character stuff. This is a show that you have to have some of that, and I think they very coyly find one episode to put that into, like one package, so they don't spread it out through the series and make it and really water the show down. So you get a whole episode that tells you why Straker is pretty much in the situation that he is, and you show us some nice little tidbits of some of the beginning and the early days of Shadow getting started, which is also like a bonus. And I love the fact, and I love the kind of storytelling that we see from these early ITV shows and a lot of these series, where rather than, again, spread it over, make it a soap opera and spread it throughout the series, throughout the season, why not knock it out in an episode like this and make it entertaining, of course. But then next week, we know we're going to be dealing with science fiction again, and things like that. And that's why an episode like this is far more palatable, in fact, enjoyable, because it's the exception, not the rule. And it is telling you things you need to know. They're much more coy, I think, at characterization by doing things like this than the way it would be handled today, the way it was handled on a certain show that we talk about on Saturday nights lately, if you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this show, this whole series, so brilliant. There's so much better storytellers and writers on this show than anything we have today, and it's not even close, and even 30 years ago, really. So kudos.
And it feels real, doesn't
series.
it? This type of storytelling in this type of storytelling universe, it feels real. There's a certain level of grittiness to it, as well as polish. And so it leaves you thinking, this is the toll that this spy life takes on them. These are your characters. This is your presenting your characters in the raw. And so you're watching it and it's so great. But if you turn Kira into the town bicycle and everybody has to have a ride, and in the end it's Odo kissing her like a mother bird feeding its baby bird, that's what it looks like. I'm sorry, it's just true. No one wants to watch it. It lacks all sincerity. It lacks all of the grittiness, the feeling that something is real, that this is the toll, that these are the intense, passionate relationships, that these are the vile things that happen between people when they're put into horrible situations. None of that happens in the let's kiss like a mother bird feeding a baby bird. Doesn't happen. This though.
Exactly.
This is the kind of, I can handle this. You know what I mean, Captain?
Right. Alara Carrison.
Hey,
good to
Alara
see you. Thanks for popping in. Yes, again, like I said, it's if for example, let's say Straker or one of them, Foster, whomever, had something going on with Gay or with Veronica, like whichever character, right?
Yep.
And you just knew about it, but you didn't see it every week. It would be right. But now it would be written as such that you would actually see like whole scenes with them talking about their relationship and all this other kind of crap. And quite frankly, I do understand that that's what other shows do and are supposed to do. On a show like this, I would not want to see it ever. So I'd rather see an episode that sort of takes care of that sort of thing, showing the humanity of these characters, then get back to telling us science fiction stories. I like the way they use that. I like that kind of narrative, and we'll never see that kind of storytelling again.
No, and it's very sad because the way that it's done here, the way that some weeks we're getting the spy story and the toll that it takes on everyone's lives, like we do get to brush up against how the spy life is ruining everybody's lives in Shadow. But then we do go directly into that science fiction, or else it's somehow miraculously folded into it, and it just makes it beautiful. But I totally agree. The minute that you head into the weird, gross, childlike soap opera crap, I don't know why we started telling stories like that and we don't continue to tell stories like this, because this shows romance in a dignified way. This shows what it's like to passionately fall in and out of love and all of your troubles in a way that is not only believable, but in a way that makes you turn around and look at your own life and look at the lives of those around you and sort of say, you know, love and society and making relationships work, it isn't so easy peasy, fresh and breezy. And so you've got this takeaway message that makes this type of storytelling so powerful. And the love and the passion is so dignified. It's quite good. I don't know why we don't do this anymore, but it's very disappointing that we don't.
Absolutely. Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa, absolutely. Well, we must cherish it because we're never going to see its like again. No question about it. So what would you rate this episode?
So for this one, I thought that we got a ton of storytelling done about everyone's lives. So we learn about how different people wound up in very key positions, and the Nina Barry is going to pay off down the line. I'm not going to talk about it though, but there's a reason why. And we get to explore the relationships we love. Now, you and I didn't really talk about it, but we get to really learn a lot about Alec here. We get to learn
a little bit,
and the way that Alec counseled Ed, and the way that those two have their own special relationship. And this is my Dr. McCoy, and I just think that he's a marvelous Dr. McCoy. I enjoy his company immensely. I love Alec Freeman. And he really shines here. So we have lots of points where we're learning even about the engineers, that they've been there since the inception of Shadow, and how everything went down. I mean, this is really meaty, and we cover a lot of ground and a lot of information, only it's juicy and fun and powerful and sad, and it's got everything. So for me, boss, this is an A+. It's not exactly my choice in subject matter or content, but when it's done this well, I'm all in. I still enjoy it. This is beautiful. I love space, science fiction, spy. It's great. A+.
Anyone else have a review? I see yours, Fiona. I'm going to go with a solid A. I love it, and it's great. Yeah, it's tied. By the way, to bounce off of something you said earlier about the mother, we don't even see. Do they show the mother? We just mentioned.
No,
her.
Just the dad.
She's the one, yeah. But it's funny how that the dad at the end's kind of nice to he's like, and you know, because he's married to the mother, so he probably knows. He's probably saying, "God, he's getting out of this at least. I'm stuck here forever." The father's like, yeah, he's like he's feeling bad for Ed there. And I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, I give it an A, and let's see. Fiona says A+ for the episode, F- for the viewing order. I got you.
Yep.
I see it.
Prod order doesn't work here, does it, Fiona? And this is what I was complaining about very early on. I love production order because I find it very revealing of lots of things, and maybe in that way, the production order actually works here because when you retire to unpack the story together as a group, it really does reveal how powerful story order is, and how learning different things about different people in a different order can change how you feel about them. So I agree, though. I did watch this initially with the ITV order, and I enjoyed it. So love your comments. Thank you so much.
Steve says a B+ because of Mrs. Straker.
Yeah, marry something else.
I hear you, dude. Yeah, I think she's kind of cute. But that's just me. But yeah. Anyway,
too hysterical, like, and always goes like quasi-violent, where it's like screaming in your face and acting a little mental. Mary snapped her crayons. Needed blow dart level meds. Somebody needed to. He needed somebody from Shadow to be sitting in one of the bushes with one of those ninja rods with like a dart, a blow dart in it, and just take her down.
Take her down. Oh dear. Well, what are you gonna do? It's still what a great show, and at least we have. It's nice that we get to talk about one each week. And man, I hope they put them back out on a new release of DVD Blu-ray one day, because I've checking with some friends of mine. Those things are not cheap. It's a good thing they're at least easy to stream. Thankfully, they're at least easy to stream.
Yes, but they're atrociously expensive. In Canada, it's even worse. And the book is insane.
It's outrageous. I got a buddy of mine who got all the DVDs and everything back when they first came out. and he didn't realize he said something to me last week, a text, talking about me reviewing the show, and then he said he told me how he got them cheap back when they first came out, but now they're stupid money, and he was even saying that as well, that the book is outrageous. Of course, Mark got a decent price on it, didn't he? I mean, I don't know how he did that, but I guess you can find them sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, it's disappointing because I am Canadian. I grew up in a band. I didn't watch a lot of television after a certain age. In fact, I watched almost none for a few decades. And so I just discovered this because it just became readily available in my country. And I think it's incredible. For the last 2 years or however long I've been watching it since it became available and rewatching it, I love it. Like, for me, this is second only to TOS. I find this much better. And I know there are people gasping right now, but no, I find this much better than even TNG. I really enjoy UFO. I find UFO is incredibly well written. I find it cerebral. I like the way that it speaks to me and communicates with me as an adult and as a science fiction fan. I enjoy it.
Indeed. Well, it's so much fun. By the way, Michael Beacom is asking, thinking ahead, is there, because we're getting close to Voyager, is there some kind of book similar to the Deep Space Nine companion for Voyager, or no? Got to be something out there.
Well, I can say this. One of the first places I'm going to go and look is Paula M. Block. And everybody knows why I'm going to choose Paula M. Block first and basically see what's tied to her in that way. And that is because what an amazing person she is to not fall into the trap of most Star Trek authors. And that is, getting their information from this hodgepodge menagerie of comments and memoirs and all the crap that goes on. I really love the fact that she's objective. She presents information in a way that is really, truly remarkable and gets original source material. When she actually was it the TNG book? Yeah, the TNG book. When she takes them to task for what they did against Irish people was
up the long ladder.
Yeah, it was becoming a popular refrain, and Paula names how many times the Irish are slighted, and she implies that there may be some sort of racism there, but she doesn't actually say it, but it's exactly where your brain goes. I really like that she's like that. I didn't always agree with her, but the fact that she's willing to put the information out there, she doesn't shape the information for what she believes. She just puts the information out there. I'm definitely going to be turning to her first. I'm going to look and see if she has a Voyager book, because I want the skinny. I want to spill the tea, and I want to make sure that it comes from all sides and that it's truthful. I don't need to hear what somebody wrote after they drank a bottle of wine and wanted to talk about their memories. I don't want that. I mean, I'll read that, but I put it into context.
Michael says he couldn't find a Paula M. Block. Got Star Trek Voyager, a celebration, but it reads like a bound copy of Teen Magazine articles or something. Whoa. Wow, that sounds great.
J.T. Kirk just went and checked, and she does not have a Voyager book. I'll do what I can, folks. I'm going to pre-read. I'm going to go and find all of the copies that shouldn't be on the internet, and I'm going to pre-read them. I'm going to vet them, see which ones are good and bad, and then I'm going to go out and buy the good one, and I will have something prepared for you, I promise.
There is a Voyager companion, so.
Yeah, who is this person? Can we?
I don't know. Stephen,
let me write this name down.
Here's a link in the chat. Let me go. I'm gonna go take a look at it.
Oh.
Okay.
Redidus.
It's relatively cheap, at least. Let me go take a. Let me Google, take some look at some pictures of it. Hang on. Let me.
Yeah, we should look at that because that's pretty important. Let's go see.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, everyone. This is riveting radio. But I listen to me type. Hey, Voyager companion. Who's looking forward to Voyager? You can lie if you want to.
I'm not. I think it's complete and utter shite. I think there's some stuff that's
I don't know.
good.
I think you're gonna have more fun doing that than DS9.
Yeah.
It's more science fiction than
Yeah.
DS9 is anyway.
Yeah.
You know. Um,
What's going on?
oh boy. All right. So
Okay, let me just check here one
the
second.
book looks decent. Looks wise anyway. I've seen this from time to time out there.
Let's look up the author.
Either
That's the
beyond.
most important thing to do is to
Right.
look up the author, because we really need to know what this person is all about. So
Well,
the one guy there I'm not too into.
person had a hell of a tough job. He had to make Voyager interesting for the reader.
So who's Ben Robinson and Mark Wright?
Mazarius. What's up, Mazarius?
Nice.
What's up, mate? I think they are who they say they are. They are themselves. I don't know. I've never.
Yeah, so they're
I
not
can't get who they are.
noteworthy.
I mean, I wouldn't presume to know that, but I don't know. I mean, I just don't know who they are.
See who this guy is who wrote the Voyager Companion
Celebration.
Let's go look.
Yeah, I don't know.
Paul has written over 30 books based some of. Oh boy,
I guess
Paul's not a very good writer then.
I guess.
Oh,
well,
Paul.
I guess your girl Paula was not big into Voyager, so she didn't.
Well, I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Paul has written over 30 books based some of the best that should be based on some of the best shows on TV, including Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Star Trek, The West Wing, Alias, and Prison Break. While he continues to work on these media tie-ins, he has also focused a great deal of attention. He should be focusing a great deal of attention on his proofreading and copy editing, but he has focused a great deal of attention on his own original fiction, including his teen series drama and the Simon Pulse romantic comedy love Hollywood style. He currently lives in Los Angeles. Oh,
well, maybe you'll just have to pull synopsis off the net like you've been doing and just leave it at that.
But
I wonder what if Enterprise has anything good to reference.
I don't know, but
what
we
I
should
mean?
start looking for that. But when I look up this Star Trek Voyager Celebration hardcover, it's $32 in Canada. And what does it say here? Well, you have some you have some people from Voyager talking about it. Ethan Phillips. Different people have been talking about it. Okay, so it has 486 ratings, and it looks like people like it. And wow, Ben Robinson wrote this. Let's go find out about Ben. Ben Guru Robinson, known affectionately by his peers as Dick, didn't grow up in Limerick, Ireland. However, he does enjoy talking with the Swedish accent, just to confuse people. His latest work, The Lazy Student's Guide to Writing a Dissertation. Oh, he's a brain. Oh, I might buy this book.
Whoa, what are you talking about? What book?
Ben, there's a book called Star Trek Voyager, a celebration. Let's look inside, shall we, folks?
Sure. If you want to show pictures, you can. That's up to you.
No, I want to look at the table of contents.
Fair enough. It's a vehicle. I don't think they don't have anything at all. Oh, there is a book about Enterprise, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's any good or not?
I think that this only does key episodes. Oh, no. It's got a season 1, season 2, season 3. I can't believe 7 seasons. Lord help me, Jesus.
Why couldn't we have 7 seasons of Enterprise? That's what I would have rather had, but hey, that's just me. Well,
no, folks, I think we might be doing, I think.
Winging it. Like
I think we might be winging it because, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have did anybody look up Enterprise?
I'm just looking at, I just looking at it now. And I don't think there's a book for Enterprise.
There might be
this thing called Enterprise by the book. Let's see.
I
Let me
really
see
need
here.
to publish a book on this stuff.
I don't
So-
know what it's about though. I have to see.
Enterprise, The Broken Bow.
That's
Book
a
one.
novelization.
Oh, no, that's novelization.
Yeah, they got a lot of novelizations and stuff, but Enterprise by the book. They got a lot of novels.
Guys, there's no
Enterprise
companion. I'm gonna
always
type in
got treated
companion.
like crap. No, there's not. I looked. Enterprise just always got treated like crap and snubbed, and you know, I
Why?
mean,
It's so good.
they
It's
didn't
so
like
good.
it.
Why?
Enterprise by
Because
the
they're
book.
afraid of science fiction. It always has to be
Yeah.
baby mama birds and baby birds on screen.
It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. But people, I can't even find a good like write up on this. Whether this is what this book is about or anything. You know,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Did you know that the Paula M. Block Star Trek Next Gen 365 is no longer available? It's gone.
Really?
And from used, it started at $70.
It was Captain says, Voyager, do 5 episodes every Saturday. Maybe we should do 6 and get it done quick.
Right?
Oh, you want
And
to?
we probably could, because I mean, it's not like there's anything meaty or juicy. I mean, other than pure comedy, and I'm not going to lie, like there's going to be comedy. Fletcher Williams, I suck at games channel.
Hey, Fletcher Williams. Hello there. It would appear that every series except Enterprise has a companion book. That's too bad. It's so typical. I mean, nothing should surprise you about that. It's a damn shame, though. Yeah, I guess I'm almost tempted. That was, we may have to give you a Scooby snack for that one, James C. Skywalker. It almost might not be a bad idea to do 6. Find a way to, work out a speedy plan. And when we get the Voyage, do 6 a week. We could knock it out almost half the time, not half the time, but close.
We would have to limit response reviews to 2-parters.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling not as many people are going to want to say much about it, because I don't know if as many people are going to want to talk about Voyager if they watch it. I mean, a lot of people watch DS9 with us, and by the way, we hope you all want to watch it with us. Don't get me wrong. We just don't want to force anybody to do anything.
Yeah. Well, I remember when it was easy for
here.
us to walk away from a TOS episode and when I went back to go and look at the episodes, like 500 or 600 people had watched them. And then the numbers went down when we were done TOS, when they went down when we did TNG, and then they sort of went back up a little bit for DS9. But there are different veins in the body of Star Trek. And different people like different things, right? But I think we're going to get a lot. Like, I think there are going to be a lot of younger people who enjoy Voyager.
Michael says, do 6 for Voyager. Episode 1 sucks. Episode 2 sucks. Episode 3 really sucks. Episode 4, oh my God. Episode 5 just killed me. Episode 6, Jerry Ryan in Spanish. I don't remember the well. Whoa, that's harsh. Hey, I just want to say, by the way, many people do love Voyager. Well, Lisa said she watched it again.
I will not make fun of anyone who likes Voyager, because my offspring is like my offspring is absolutely brilliant. Okay, my offspring is articulate, brilliant, plugged in. My offspring could spend an evening here with all of us, and you wouldn't even know how old my offspring is, and that my offspring appeared here. That's how, like, just wonderful person, wise beyond years, just incredibly intelligent, like really, really intelligent, highly educated individual. Absolutely loves Voyager.
There you go.
And I raised my offspring on TOS. So my offspring went through TOS. My offspring went through TNG. My offspring went through DS9. My offspring went through Voyager. My offspring went through Enterprise. Went through it all. And my offspring, my lovely, lovely offspring, watches every holiday when I go through all of the movies. So amazing human being, but absolutely loves Voyager. So I will never say a horrible word
Right.
about anyone who watches it. I don't personally like it, but I'm not about to make fun of anybody who does enjoy it, because I know a person who I deeply admire and respect who absolutely loves that show.
The our dear, lovely, wonderful Katie Carr, who is just a wonderful friend of the show, beautiful young lady.
Mhm.
Voyager is her favorite thing out in her world. It's everything. She loves it unabashedly, and we love her for it. I love that she loves it, and I mean, and we don't tease her about it at all. And we she, I don't even know what she knows that we're not that well disposed toward or not, but we'd have to let her down gently and say, oh, well, just But we love that she loves it. Alec Harrison says Voyager is the second favorite Star Trek next to OG Trek. Hey, I got you. What's it? Kal-El says, I completely respect anyone who likes Voyager. My problem is with the series itself.
Yeah.
And Fiona says, Voyager is a bit painful. It's a bit painful to the scientifically literate. Boy.
Yep.
I hear you.
But Fiona, what's funny is that you've met the really cool people who watch Voyager when they 100% are so young that they just automatically assumed that Voyager was science fantasy, and they enjoy it as science fantasy, because I know that is the case with my offspring. Did 4 years pre-vet med to become a veterinarian, which is a very difficult job, because you have to know so many different species, and you have to be able to perform so many things on so many different animals. You have to be a surgeon, you have to be an oncologist, you have to be all these things. So this is a very, very intelligent human being, but just naturally, just organically thought, oh, this is science fantasy. And so that's how they take it, and they really like it. So it's a lot of younger women, and I'm welcoming the girls. I think there are going to be some younger women who say, oh yeah, I totally know this is science fantasy. And they're going to show up, and they're going to be the girlfriends and the wives and the sisters of people who were joining us for the stuff that's more like Isaac Asimov, that usually makes people's eyes glaze over. Like when I tell people I read Foundation, they're like, how did you read that? They can't do it. They can't do it. But I also read Stephen Hawking, and people can't do that either. So it's not just about sex, it's also about taste. And so we're going to have some smart women here who just automatically consider this by default science fantasy, and they thoroughly enjoy it as science fantasy.
Well, it is, after all. Once you strip it all away, folks, it's a TV show. I don't care how good it is a TV show, and therefore it doesn't matter a hill of crap how smart a Star Trek episode is, no matter which iteration, if it's not entertaining to you on some level, because that's what it's there for. It is there to be entertaining. Well, we love any of these shows. We'll be here now talking about it if it didn't, on some level, entertain us, because you can get all, obviously the answer is no. We love, and sometimes entertainment, if something entertains us a lot, we'll forgive it its travails, depending upon it. For example, Trials and Tribulations is ridiculous, but I just adore it because I'm in love with the original series. There are episodes of original Trek even that go crazy. A PC action is ridiculous. It's absolutely bonkers.
Hysterically
I love
bad.
it. I love it.
But it's fun.
I love it.
Yep.
By any other name, is the weirdest Star Trek episode ever made, because it starts out as a dark, really scary problem for the crew with these terrible, horrible Andromedans who are on the inside, these scary creatures taking human form.
That's right.
And then the episode turns into the crazy, screwball comedy for Star Trek. Yep. That's what I've always called the weirdest Trek, and I love it. You can say, dude, why you love it? It's really insane. It's not. Yeah, I know, but I love it. So
everyone's talking about the Foundation series in the chat.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I thought you were done. Go ahead, Clobby.
No, I'm fine. I didn't see it. So.
Yeah.
Oh well, Alert. Yep. Says. I love every As a Guy's Muff book. Foundation is a masterpiece.
Yeah, and a couple of other people were talking about Foundation series as well. Everyone, I absolutely love the Foundation series. Thank you for mentioning it. And yes, obviously the books. I don't have Apple TV, but I don't even want to give it a try. I'm good without that crap.
I heard
I
the show
did
was
notice
terrible.
though, because I have the originals of the Foundation series in paperback, which I sent away from a book collector. And then I have the new ones, and I have actually gone through with marginalia and annotated the new volumes, not the old, to show all of the changes. And there are significant changes in diction for the new books. So you should know that, including the fact that the word atomic has been changed to nuclear, and other strange things, and whole pages missing and stuff like that. So when I read the new one, I was like, this isn't right. And then I ordered the old one from the book collector that I know and waited for it to ship in. I did a side by side, and I was like, gosh, dang it, I knew it. And they've changed the books. And I put the side by sides on my old Twitter. I wish I still had my old Twitter. But yeah. So everyone should know that they've changed the Foundation series books. So go to your book collector and get the originals, the original copies in paperback or hardback or whatever you want to do.
There you go.
Sorry for interrupting,
No,
Bobby.
about it.
Sometimes I appear like my brain is leaking out of my ears, and I do the dumb thing of like trying to read the whole chat and speak to you at the same time. And sometimes I just come off as a gigantic a-hole. And so I want to apologize to you, because it's like, what kind of a moron thinks that they can have a conversation with 8 people at once? Only me. Only I'm dumb enough to believe that I can do that. So I just wanted to apologize to you for being a complete idiot.
Don't. First of all, I order you to take that back. You're not. And second of all, you clearly don't pay attention. How often am I here by myself doing that very thing? All the time. All the time I'm by myself. You know that. And I do it. I try to. It's difficult. You can't talk. You can't speak to everything in the chat. It would be impossible. But you try.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But no, this is the clubhouse. We're hanging out with our friends. You nothing to apologize for. You answered something that was in the chat. That's what we're all doing right now. We've done our reviews. We got nothing going on, so we're talking to our friends.
Shooting
and we're just talking a little track and books and other stuff. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You know, I'll talk. I mean, if you hang on. Thank you so much, Michael. Big Mr. Sweet Charles. Gotta say good night. I be seeing you. Well, thank you so much for the super chat. Be seeing you.
And make sure that you kiss Cassandra on the cheek for me, and tell her that you love her. Don't ever forget to tell everyone that you love them. And please let her know that Clobby and I said hi. All the 735ers, all the clobberers, everyone from the clubhouse waves hello to the wonderful Cassandra. Such a beautiful and kind person.
Hey, Michael, don't listen to her. You're gonna get in trouble if you do that when she's trying to sleep. You're gonna get smacked.
You're gonna get whacked.
Yeah, be quiet. Leave her alone. Don't mess with her. Let her sleep, for God's sake.
Yeah, Fiona.
Thank you, Michael.
I do my best to track that sort of thing. I did make sure that I was able to. I've been in different undergraduate things, a few things, and one of them for my distinguished writing degree, I asked special permission to take a few classes with a comparative literature professor who I just absolutely adore. We actually wound up being friends. This is 15 years ago or so. So that comparative literature aspect of examining a text is very important. And so you're not only comparing it to other texts that are similar or take inspiration from, but in studying them close up and doing line by line study of different texts, you certainly learn when things have been changed. So I was quite alarmed when I bought the new set. So the new covers came out, and you know me, I'm from publishing, and I studied all that in university, and I love it in undergrad and all that. I was really happy. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get new covers, and I'm a slave to trade back. I'm a vassal to trade backs, because I find trade backs are nice to hold in the hands, and also because I'm over 50, I need larger print, and so I like to be able to lie in bed with a book and be comfortable with that book. So really enjoy trade backs. So that's why I went and bought the new Foundation series, and I bought them all. And the first one has some weird like Apple TV series on it, the first book, but then all the rest have none. And this just shows you that the people who would buy that would just buy that book and put it on their shelf because they watched the show, and so they think they read the book, and they didn't. Anyway, yeah, that's when I noticed immediately. I was like, this does not sound like Isaac Asimov. Something's wrong here. And then I decided to order the original gangsta ones, and had them shipped in from another province, and did a side by side, line by line edit, page by page, and found at least 5 or 6 changes per page throughout the books.
Fancy. What do you? Why'd you put that link? Why did you put that link to Star Trek: Legion of Superheroes in there? No problem. I'm just wanting to see you. I have that, by the way. The issues, the regular issues. I mean, no problem. You put it in links, but I'm just curious why you put that in there. Did you have something to say about that in that comic? Clobbering Time, Star Trek: The Original Crewmate Show. I mean, you're not implying that I don't know that exists or something, are you? Because that would be weird of you.
That would be very bad. Then I would have to ask you for your agonizer. I might even send you through the Klingon Rite of Ascension. We actually have an emoji for that. I made you an emoji for that.
I just don't know why it came up, and why did it come up? And that's fine. I just I don't know. I need an explanation of why he's putting it in there. Did you come to some sort of epiphany? Go, I bet Clobby's never heard of this. There's no way. You know me too well. And look, even I bought it and read it. Yeah, and even had who knows? But you're right. He just wants me to review it. I think. I might review that one night. Since I know you won't come on. Well, you don't like to come on anymore. Fancy. I don't know. I might review it with J-Man.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's got problems, but the trade program has Kirk with Shadow Lass, Kirk Phantom Girl, Shadow Girl, and Princess Projector, Dream Girl, Dawnstar. Well, look, it's Kirk, and they're hot. But their thing is, if they weren't an adult Legion, then never mind. But speaking of that, Legion, I get told I pick on John Byrne too much, but man.
Yeah, I saw you were talking about this. This is cool.
Well, what's cool about this is John Byrne sort of did it and sort of didn't. It's his art. But what's amazing about, man, an artist who does a lot of fun stuff with Photoshop took this thing. Well, what he did was excuse me. You see take either one of these in the middle, one with just the kid and take see the one with Superboy right there. That's the one he did initially, and it was just in pencil and ink. I think it wasn't colored. So what he did was every other picture is the same exact one. He just took this one and made all the other. He just changed the clothing and the clothes on all of them and the faces on all of them, but they're all the same drawing. If you see what I'm saying. So yes, Byrne did the one with Superboy and the Founders there, and there with the little kid there laying there with Triplicate Girl. But this guy took all the other ones and made the rest of the Silver Age Legion. And don't start. Look, everyone's already picked on him for leaving out Pharaoh Lad, and he said he had a good reason for it. But I just say, man, this is amazing. This guy deserves the credit. HB would enjoy this.
Nice.
Could you possibly please put up more pics of Power Girl, please? Or I was putting up Power Girl pictures last night. I don't know about all that, man. This is a decent family show here, buddy. So anyway, it's taken from one piece of burn art and expanded out to ridiculous proportions. But I love it. That's my Silver Age Legion, done by John Byrne, because he did regret what he did to the Legion. And one day I may forgive him.
Yeah.
Maybe not. And then the guy found. Then he even did the second stringers and the subs at the bottom there. Unreal.
Wow.
He did the second stringers and the subs. I love that he did that. So yeah, pretty cool
Elastic
stuff.
Lad.
Yep, Jimmy Olsen, Elastic Lad. Yep, I love it.
So cool.
Oh, I love this thing. So
Everybody
yeah.
keeps asking in the chat, so I looked it up. As far as I know, from all of the various copies that I own, now buying the Foundation series is not cheap. It costs a lot of money. But from the Foundation copies that I own, I can tell you that the changes were made in my estimation, but I would need to see every single printing. And I mean every single printing, in order to tell you for sure. I would need to read them and check them side by side, line by line. But you should know that against the original copies, some from sort of middle of the pack, and 2016, it appears that the changes occurred to Isaac Asimov's Foundation series, books 1 through 7. Major changes occurred in 2016.
Wow. Damn. Good Lord. Long time ago.
JT Kirk, I'm not sure, honey. I would need to check. Would you like me to go and check in the library? Let me go and check in the library. That's in my parlor. I have different libraries and different rooms in my house. Yeah, I know I'm a weirdo. I will be right back. Clobby?
Gotcha.
I'll be right back.
No problem. Fiona, I tell you what, it's an interesting idea. And I'm thinking it's definitely worth considering, but I kind of want to give. I mean, I'm not mean to Voyager. I don't hate it, but I love Enterprise. So I kind of want to give Enterprise its own show. I mean, its own Clobberin times attention, because it only had 4 seasons. Your idea is very valid. Here's me with Voyager. My whole history with Star Trek is really the original series, of course, and then I watched TNG when it came on the air, most of it when it came on the air, and then I was more of a critic of it than a fan. I like it fine. When DS9 came on, I watched the first few episodes and just like, and just I loved Babylon 5 and just still think it's better. Boy, especially. Then I watched the first couple of Voyagers and was the same thing, kind of bowed out. Thank you, Fletcher. Fletcher Williams, thank you so much for that. He says, what do you recommend we get to be safe? What year do you recommend we get to be safe? What year?
Hi.
What is it? What year do you recommend? Thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure what that means. Is he talking to you?
Yeah, he's talking to me. A lot of people are freaking out.
Okay.
They're actually really, really freaked out about the changes being made. Okay, so what's in front of me, folks, that I've just gone and retrieved from my library, which I definitely recommend, is, just let me open this up without wrecking it. I have a 1951 copy. This is a 1951 copy, and I don't see the ISBN.
Thank you again, Fletcher.
This is 1951. So that's the one that I have. I have the 1951 from Doubleday, and I don't even want to crack it because it scares me to crack it. And then I've got the one that I marked up, which is the 2016 one, but let me just make sure that it's the 2016 one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the one I have is 2018 Del Rey trade paperback. So that's when I was talking about it on the internet. 2018. This is a Penguin Random House, and the ISBN is 978-0-553-38257-0. If you would like to compare them. However, I definitely do not recommend buying this book. Just because there are strange things throughout, like I talk about symbolic logic, how they've changed symbolic logic, atomic to nuclear. I have in-depth marginalia throughout, right? On page 80, for instance, all the references to empire have been changed to imperial. Of course, speaking of the family, and just page after page of that kind of stuff. Really, really weird stuff, right? That just makes you say, Why has this been changed, right? On page 66. They changed. They changed some dialogue with his lordship, and just all sorts of stuff, that the stuff that I can't even get into on air here. But just it is remarkable, the amount of alteration that has occurred. So I believe the first time this cover came out is 2016. I looked it up on the American website, Amazon.com, and that is the same cover as this. And this one came out in 2016, but my personal one is 2018. And the one that I could afford, as far back as I could afford to go, was the Avon series, 1951 Avon series, Doubleday and Company. That's the one that I could afford. I couldn't afford anything better than that. It's just the paperback. It's a teeny tiny one. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's a sight to behold. But if that frightens you, and if that's scaring everyone in the chat, it should, because Laura Carrison, what's published after 1999, when they're republishing this stuff, they're starting to do some funky stuff. I went through it with a friend who reads a lot of books, and he was completely freaked out. He said, Raquel, some of these changes, they're not even necessary. So why are they being done, other than the fact to just do them, to rearrange what's being said? And I just said, this is what I find the most baffling. Some of it is clearly changing certain speech to be non-politicized speech, or to be lesser politicized speech. Some of it is a change in diction, which is not required whatsoever, but is being done for reasons I cannot massage. And then some of the changes are just bat poop crazy, and you're wondering why they even did it. So I know everyone in the chat is freaking out. That's because you all love Isaac Asimov as much as I do. That is hard science fiction. We have so little of it, and it's very sad. But it seems like these days everything is getting rewritten and is subject to changes that are many of them don't even make any sense, no matter how you vote. It's very, very, very bizarre and very disappointing. Anyway, just so you all know. Sorry. I'm happy that everybody enjoyed that, but sorry for that rabbit hole.
There's nothing to be sorry about. I'm glad. I mean, it's important stuff. Absolutely. And we're about to get this here, and the science fiction doesn't qualify. What would?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love Mr. Asimov, not just because of all the wonderful things he gave so many in science fiction. Remember, he gave me a whole TV show to my very own.
Yeah,
so I'll always love him for that. He gave me, actually, it's called Isaac Asimov's Probe.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's the only. He reached out his mighty hand and said, "I'll create this show for that one little fat bastard down in Louisiana, just for the hell of it, because he owned the comic shop." Boom and boom.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that. He only gave me 7 episodes. I probably wanted 2 more. It was probably unreasonable, but hey. So yeah, Mr. Asimov. He gave me a science fiction show of my own, so I love him for it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But I think it's very, very, very important that you never change what an author has written. And I just think it's wrong. I think that what the author has written is what the author has written, and that's the end of it, for better, for worse. And it makes me quite frightened for people like H.P. Lovecraft and others. And I think I think it should be very controversial to involve all publications in presentism. Presentism is
yes.
It's a very, very scary thing. And I don't like to use the phrase slippery slope, but this is a slippery slope, and we ought to be quite careful on it. No one's wearing a helmet.
Got to be. No,
Yep.
right. I mean, slippity slip it is with if the shoe fits.
Yep.
So what? I've been giving plenty F's for Voyagers. Now, Eric K. How dare you, sir? So premature with all these F's, man. I don't know if look. I'm beginning to think I might be nicer to it than DS9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I will. I don't know. I didn't think I was going to be this way to DS9. It's probably number one's fault. Just kidding.
It probably is.
I'm kidding.
No, but like it's true, and people don't
No,
understand it.
I'm
But
joking.
like, I kind of feel like, to tell you the truth, like I feel very, very happy and flattered that you actually even gave me an opportunity to do this, because I know I've mentioned this before, but like I was having conversations on social media where people like totally pretended like they were diehard Star Trek fans, and they didn't really realize how problematic DS9's writing is, and how it isn't the best. And sometimes they don't even understand the nature of the characters or how they're written in the Bibles, and even what a show Bible is, where somebody sits down one day and says, okay, like we're going to need more than just me involved in this story writing, because we have to write a TV show and we need a brand new episode each week. So we're going to need this Bible so that you can all understand how I've conceived of this character. And those people don't know anything about those characters at all. And so as I've been friends with you over the last, like, I don't know, 3 years, I found it very freeing to be around someone who isn't afraid of the truth of Star Trek, because there is Star Trek good, the bad, the ugly, and every iteration has it. It has its strengths and it has its weaknesses. But for people to be so hateful towards Enterprise and to make it out like Enterprise is complete shite, when meanwhile Enterprise, in my opinion, is the most like TOS, is simply absurd. And the arguments they present on social media are even more absurd, because it's almost as if they didn't watch the show and they're just pretending they did, or they clearly didn't understand what they watched. And I don't mean like subjective opinions about whether it was good or bad, but I just mean like objectively, like through comprehension, what was happening on the show. And so having to watch it in a linear fashion instead of just cherry picking all these episodes, I think it's sort of like vindicated the things I was trying to show people. It's like, okay, well, you thought I was full of it, but here's your evidence. This is actually happening. This actually happened. And I've watched it multiple times. And maybe you should at least watch it once compared to my multiple times and figure out why.
Right.
You know,
well,
so
welcome to Indie Key Comics. Hello there, by the way.
oh, Indie Key
Welcome.
Comics. Nice to see you.
No, I hear you. No, look, it is. You've already talked about this. We're now in season 7 of DS9. This review. We've both seen the show many times, but doing it like this, breaking it into, actually breaking it down and reviewing it each week, has given me a slightly different perspective on it. I always just used to say, once I finally watched it all many years later after it originally came on, I was as well disposed toward it as anybody. Not, it won't touch the original series, of course, but it's nowhere near it. Hey, Sander Hammerslag. Hey,
nice to see you.
Good to see you. But as you talked about, people were polled, and it's the most popular of the Star Trek series. And then when you dig deeper, and they say because this is the least like Star Trek, that's kind of goes against my grain a little bit, because I want to, that's not a reason. That's not why I liked it. I generally just liked it because I like the characters. But yeah, but now that we're kind of taking a cold, hard look at it right now, a critical eye, not just watching it and hey, did you like that episode? Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good one. Sure, yeah, that was pretty good. Or that episode, we're actually breaking them down and analyzing them into pieces. Oh man, it's an episodic fiction. It doesn't hold true. If you're not being true to Star Trek, then I have a problem with you. And I didn't think about it as much on previous viewings, but I'm sure thinking about it a lot more now, because you and I've talked about this so much. Fidelity to Gene Roddenberry's vision or not is what you're going to be. And this show, while a good show in a lot of ways, and It's got a lot of ways that is not good Star Trek.
I made a lot of people angry, but let's face it, what I was facing what I was facing,
Often.
sorry for the repetition, unscripted, natural conversation, folks. But when I first encountered you, there's just so much negativity toward Gene Roddenberry, and I really love Gene Roddenberry. So I think a lot of people were just throwing the Gene's vision around on social media at the time, and people actually were turning it into a pejorative. They were actually saying, like most of the people involved with the newer forms of, none of the original series people, but the people who were involved in the newer forms of Star Trek were saying horrible things about Gene and saying what he thought and what he felt and what he was doing and what his story was all about. And a lot of people hated my guts when I got on your show and were really mad at me. But that's because instead of just saying Gene's vision, I brought them the letter that he did with Humanist Magazine, a 4-day interview that showed exactly what he thought and what he felt. And so all the stuff that they had been cultivating and disseminating on social media made them look like fools. And they were angry with me because I brought proof. I brought receipts, and people, they like it when I say receipts. Like Mr. Tickle Trunk always says, Raquel loves to bring her receipts. And yes. I think that that's important, instead of just getting on social media and looking at IMDb and looking at what other people are saying and then looking at Memory Alpha and deciding what you believe. It's really important to actually go to that person and actually find out what the truth is. And that's why I believe in the Socratic dialectic. The Socratic dialectic sounds like a big fancy academic term, but it's not. It just means that you uncover evidence and ask questions until the truth is revealed, or until you arrive at a satisfied place of exploring the evidence. But you can't do that unless you provide evidence. And some people really enjoyed that and they stuck with us. And some people have become very angry with me because I didn't politicize my speech or politicize my perspective or leave information out because it didn't suit my need or detract from my need. It didn't do either. The evidence just existed. And that made people really upset because people really love DS9, Clobby. They really love it. Like a lot. And so I'm the Wicked Witch of the West. They wish a house would fall on my sister. It's not good.
Yeah, look, if you love it, fine. How many times, if you've actually been here for Saturday Night Star Trek, all opinions are welcome. Our good buddy Kal-El is a dear friend of the show. He doesn't always agree. He likes, and he's a dear friend of our show here, and he loves that show, and he gives good reviews far more than we do. We're giving our honest opinions, folks. And I'm even honest with you when I say, when I watched this episode before, I liked it a little bit better. But now that I've watched it again, I'm thinking this or that and the other. And by the way, we don't even discuss the episodes. Raquel and I do not discuss the episodes beforehand, as you know. No. So, and we don't always agree either. So it's just we are very, very close together as Star Trek soulmates in a lot of our fundamentalists. Our fundamental things that we love out of Star Trek, but there have been times once in a while, or especially in my case, where I've liked an episode that she thought was a stinker-rooney, and I just do I care? Like I went off and I liked it, was pretty good. And when she goes, and I know she's so sweethearted, she's like, oh no, I'm gonna have to disagree with Clobby. I said, do it. And of course, she makes me laugh when she. Got to understand something, folks. I can tell you, I can rant for 20 minutes about how something I think is just the most fantastic thing in the world, and I love it. And you could come in 5 minutes and say it's the worst piece of crap ever. And if you're funny, I'm going to laugh. I don't care. I don't give a shit. And I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm going to go, you might even point out some things I didn't think of. I'm going to go, whoa, I didn't think of that. Wow, pretty good. But I don't give a shite. And you shouldn't either if someone disagrees with you one way or the other, whether they love what you hate or hate what you love. Laugh it off. Blunt Philly reviews. Hello there, my friend. So it's all in good fun here. It always should be. But I'm getting a bit of a new perspective on DS9 in that am I saying it's a worse show than I thought before? I'm not really saying that. It's still a good show that captivates you with interesting stories and characters. What I'm saying is I'm now reviewing it not as a show that you watch and just like or not. I am actually reviewing it from another criteria that I didn't always apply as deeply, and that is Is it Star Trek? Is it at its core faithful to what Gene Roddenberry laid down Star Trek is? And I'll tell you, this is just me, folks. Not everyone's like this, but I believe in a certain fidelity to the creator of any character.
It's true.
And this starts with comic books for me before even before I was watching Star Trek. I'm that old, in the sense that if another writer comes along and takes a character that he did not create and starts screwing around with him, aka John Byrne, or whatever, and then has the arrogance to say, I'm doing it this way, and even makes fun of and trashes what went before, I have no respect for you.
And that happens in DS9.
It happens because, I mean, Rick Berman, Michael Piller, and especially Ronald D. Moore have done that to Gene Roddenberry, and I don't appreciate it. Fiona says, thank you for the super chat, Fiona. You're too kind. I appreciate you. She says, even the bad episodes are fun with you guys. Oh, thank you so much. And there's the thing. We're all here for fun. So if we beat up on an episode you like, you can just laugh at us, tell us we're full of crap, tell us why you liked it, and we're all good. Yeah. But my point about this, I want to drive home the point that if you go contrary to what the creator of something, I don't care if it's the Fantastic Four, if it's Superman or Batman, if it's Star Trek, if it's Battlestar Galactica, if it's Conan, if it's Sherlock Holmes, I don't care who it is. His creator didn't like his creation. If it's against what a creator had laid out, or you do something and you have no respect for what went before, then I have no respect for you, Ronald Moore being one of them.
Yeah.
And he has, on occasion, hello there, Admiral Teague. Thank you, buddy.
Good evening.
Ronald
Thank
Moore,
you for sending the super sticker to
Thank
Clobby.
you for that super sticker, Admiral Teague. Appreciate you, buddy. Good to see you there, Mr. Saving Star Trek. Please go to find Saving Star Trek on YouTube and subscribe to his great channel. If you're trashing someone else's creation, all I can say to you is, Ronald D. Moore, what did you ever create?
That's my issue with
Rick
those
Berman,
people.
what did you ever create?
Yeah.
People who do that to comic book characters that they did not create also aggravates me. Eric K says, Admiral Teague, member for 3 months, Clobber. Sorry, but I think DS9 is too dark and untrek-like. Well,
agreed.
Hey, I agree. I think it's some of their episodes I really like, and episodes I don't like that much. I like the characters, but I think the writing of the characters over 7 years is wildly inconsistent.
Yes.
I think it's a great cast of actors.
Yes.
Again, it's kind of funny. You know, the first 2-3 seasons that get accused of being clunky and uninteresting are more like a science fiction Star Trek show than the later ones.
Yeah.
They're not perfect. But I cannot stand people who muck about with the creations of others and act all innocent about it and act like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Ronald D. Moore can make fun of Gene Roddenberry all day long, and he could disagree with him all day long. That's fine. But, dude, you're pissing in his pool, too. You're working with creations. Now, in DS9, at least Roddenberry didn't create those characters, but it's still his universe, and you're still contradicting that. Harlan Ellison, for example, I love the City on the Edge of Forever, the way it was fixed. His script is garbage. I'm sorry, it's garbage, because it's not Star Trek. And when he whined about it back then, he didn't whine about the award he got. But when he whined about them messing with it, you know, my only thing I would say, and I like Harlan, don't get me wrong, I like a lot about him. Hey, you signed on to write someone else's characters. Then you expect them to bow to your will.
That's
wrong.
True.
Not the way it works.
That's absolutely true, because it's a pretend universe. Like, it's an entire universe that Gene Roddenberry created. And the thing is that if you loathe it so much that you even begin to approach the idea that it requires public reformation, so admonishment and reformation. So you go on social media, you condemn what came before, you say it's absolutely socially unacceptable, it's vile, it's garbage, and you're going to fix it. Well, what I think the most important thing to do is at that point is to abandon that artist, Don't use that artist anymore. Don't use any of their authorship. Don't use any of their ideas, and just write something for yourself. For me, I think it's intellectually and emotionally dishonest to say that you work for a corporation and there's this IP and you need to reform it and bring it before the public to say this is vile and it needs to be completely rewritten. This needs to be corrected, and I'm the person to do it. I'm going to remake this painting in my own image. And very early on the internet, I put up the picture of Jesus and that lady who found this beautiful and priceless painting of Jesus, and she tried to correct it herself and it wound up making Jesus look like Mr. Potato Head. That's what's going on with these people like Ronald D. Moore as well. I mean, if you need somebody else's creation to make your own creation, then you're not a creator. And I also find it kind of scary because as a person who writes nonfiction, a published thesis, I'd like to publish my dissertation, and I write fiction. What I find really scary is that somebody would try and twist what I say later or not like what I say later, but then use my name, my idea, and my title and all those things to make money for themselves. It doesn't sound very honest, does it, Clobby? For somebody who climbs up on a high horse on social media, working for a corporation and a corporate team of authors to create this reformation of somebody else's ideas, but using their ideas, but also making fun of them and declaring them garbage in public. I mean, why did they do that? And that went on for quite a few years. And it made channels like Doomcock, DC. Like I remember we both got on Twitter at the same time. And we basically instantly became friends when we both joined Twitter in 2017. And that basically, it forced him to do his channel because he's just like, what is going on here? Why is this happening? And I felt the exact same way. It's like, so you pick up Edgar Allan Poe, and this is a guy, who starved to death, died unknown, was never, people didn't publish him. He wasn't world renowned or anything like that. You pick up his stuff now, and you think, oh my goodness, Edgar Allan Poe, he's a legend, he's incredible. I want to write happy stories. His stories are bad. This is a bad man. He writes scary stories about bad people doing bad things. I want to make all of Edgar Allan Poe's into comedies. And then later, when you're interviewed, you say, well, Edgar Allan Poe, he was a misogynist. He was a garbage human. I don't care about his vision, and he deserves to be taught this lesson. I don't respect his work. I'm doing this to his work to teach him and whoever's read him a lesson. Sounds pretty absurd, hey? But that's what's going on with Star Trek.
Yeah, let me address something real quick here. Donnie, are you having a spastic attack or something? What in the hell does this mean? Please, darn it, read my stinking comment. Well, darn it, I need.
Where is it?
Which stinking comment would that be? And how do you know I haven't read it? You mean read it out loud? I mean, I don't mind reading your comments, dude, but what are you running around with demands for? What the? I mean, is this which one, Donnie? I'll tell you what, I'll be happy to read it since you're a pal and all.
Looking for it.
And he says, calms down and breathes. Forgive me, hey, don't worry, but hey, look, you're a friend. But which one, buddy?
Oh, I think he might have got zapped because it's not even here.
And Power Rangers, hello. Maybe it got zapped. It was just write it again and see if it doesn't get zapped, because I saw the one you wrote about stinking comment, and I saw one before that saying hello to somebody.
Hold on, I'll start.
So write it again, baby cakes, and you're good. In the meantime,
I just started. If that's even the one, boss.
Is this TNG is my number one? Oh, he wanted to tell us his favorite, I guess. Okay. Donnie, it's okay, buddy. You can breathe. TNG is my number one golden age, and overall Star Trek show. My opinion on Deep Space Nine has changed. It's my honorable mention. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, great.
Oh, is that the one?
I don't know if it is or not. He'll tell you. First of all, Fiona had said back then, he whined about it every single day of his life. until yeah, Ellison. That's true of his life until his last.
Right?
He did.
The boob grabber.
I think she's talking about Harlan. But
She's
by the
talking about
time
the boob grabber.
everyone was telling their sides, both him and Gene were less than forthcoming. Yeah. Well, yeah. Look, if he hires you to write the show and wants you to write the characters a certain way, hey, you didn't create the damn show. Harlan was way out of line. And Steve Kal-El says, I think that's the mentality of the writers of the filth have towards our audience. You will bow down. You will bow down before me, Jarrell.
Yeah.
And support our shows. And then one day, your ass. Yes, I see what you did there.
Oh, thank you, Blunt Philly Reviews. That's a very sweet comment. Thank you so much.
What? Oh, Blunt. What did he say?
He's just being kind to me. Just sent me a little note that's just for me. You're a very, very sweet person. Thank you so much. And I'm going to take that into my heart because it means a lot to me that you would send a note, such a kind note to me. Thank you, Blunt Philly Reviews.
You mean on the somewhere else? Okay, gotcha.
No, here in the chat, but he just said RM. I don't want to repeat it because it feels weird to me to repeat stuff like that. But he just said, "You're awesome." First off, anyone putting a woman down looks petty and lame. Second off, hate is gonna hate. P.S. Club has the best clubhouse online.
Oh, so thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So I think Donnie said. Let's see what Donnie said. Then again, I believe that not all generations of Power Rangers are perfect. Not even what purists call Power Rangers in name only. I bet, if I were one of them, I'd probably be saying the same thing. You know me, Donnie. Fiona said, at least Harlan had the talent to back up his arrogance. Yeah. Boy, did he ever. None of these filth people do now. Look, I loved Harley. He was hilarious. He was even nice to me, which I was surprised. Yeah. Eric K says, Blunt Philly Reviews member 2 months, member for 4 months, Clobberin level. Haters are going to hate Clubhouse for life. Oh, thank you.
We feel the same way about you. Yeah, the thing is, too, Fiona, is when you start looking into Gene Roddenberry himself and you look into his personality and stuff like that, he definitely, I don't know, was he an INTJ? I'm not sure. I'm an INTJ, which is just a temperament sorting. It's not a psychological test. It's just a pattern of how you tend to behave. And I don't think of myself as a special snowflake. I think of myself as one of several billion people, billions of people who have lived on this earth. So I have a more scientific, logical mind. I don't think of myself as a snowflake, but I wonder if Gene was an INTJ because just the way that he behaves. And one thing I noticed is that very much INTJs, we don't like to talk bad about people or stir bad stuff up in public. We find the best way to cure the most poisonous among us is through positivity and nice manners. If you can approach the most poisonous person and give them love and encouragement and try to avoid feeding into their negativity. So it's not to worship them or pander to them, but more like not to entertain all of that negativity or to delve into it yourself and exasperate the situation. Gene was very much like that. You'll notice that the people who I will push forward in Star Trek when I talk about quote unquote who told the truth, Grace Lee Whitney, Nichelle Nichols, DeForest Kelley, Jackson DeForest Kelley, Gene Roddenberry. These are people who didn't tell versions of stories. They just told the stories, and they just told the truth about what happened. And they didn't engage in SHIT talking other people. You'll notice that. Watch the pattern of their behavior. They don't SHIT talk anyone. They just don't. They don't engage in that kind of stuff. And so for me, it makes them way more believable. I absolutely love Bill, but Bill's told so many different versions of so many different stories. I just can't with him. And I love Leonard Nimoy, but I've been a fan of Leonard Nimoy my whole life. He was practically a god. When I was growing up, he was my hero. And then he wrote those 2 books where it was almost schizophrenia. It's one complete book of that thought one way, and then immediately a book that thought completely the opposite way and like, oh, let's hit the brakes, we're going off the cliff. And so I love and appreciate Gene because he didn't gossip. And I'm very much like that myself. I absolutely cannot stand gossip. I don't like people who talk about other people. I don't like it at all. It angers me. I think small minds talk about people, and worthwhile minds with worthwhile lives talk about ideas. And so that's one thing I appreciate. I'm quite happy he didn't jump into the trenches and start flinging poop at other people who were flinging poop at him, especially the boob grabber.
There you go. Well, I don't know what I have. I got nothing other than, yeah, we are being. I don't know. I thought I would enjoy this. This run of DS9 we've done better than I have, but it is fun. It doesn't matter because the show's so much fun coming here and talking about it with everyone, good or bad. But I do think I am conscious of that. A lot of people are going to come away with the idea, wow, these guys hate DS9. It's the most popular one. Most people hated it because you hear nothing but good things. Most people are very well disposed toward it. And here we are each week being highly critical of it, but got to be honest. I'm sorry, just have to be honest. We'll give our honest views on these episodes. It makes me know. It doesn't make me. I mean, other than having fun, it's funny. It doesn't make me. I'm not happy to have to beat up on an episode. I just assume like an episode, and there's still probably going to be some this season that I like. Hey, probably.
Well, I think it's upset a lot of people, but like I said earlier, I think that you have to stand by the objective truth. And I think you can only arrive to that through evidence. And I think one of the most eye-opening things to me in this whole experience is not how much I know about Star Trek and how wonderful and awesome I am, because that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is I've learned a couple of things. One is how many lies Star Trek fans have been telling each other for the last 50 years and concentrated on the last, say, 25 or 30 years. Like, they just straight up lie about stuff. And the lies have been told so many times that they believe it. So that's one thing that I've learned. They don't like evidence. They get very upset about evidence. Second thing I've learned is that there are many MANY, many people who claim that they love Star Trek, and I'm positive that they haven't watched anything but a handful of episodes from each or from their favorite iteration. And that being like just like people that like objectively
Could be.
have such low comprehension that it's not believable. You have to conclude that person has a double-digit IQ, but just didn't actually watch it. Because, like this week, like not to rehash something, but imagine not knowing that Cisco was a product of the gods, and that the gods interfered and even forced a woman to conceive with someone who she didn't want to be with. And then we're 100% led to believe that he is a god. He's the product of the gods deciding that he needed to exist to be the deliverer, the Messiah, to lay hands on the sick on DS9 and to deliver not only a nation, but a planet of people to their destiny. And they use, that word. And so the fact that we actually encountered someone who was so enraged to learn that, though pretending to watch the show, I think is really scary. But it's not the first time, and I don't think it's the last time. So I've learned some things too. And a lot of it's not pleasant. But, I don't want to sound cocky, but when I was having fights with people on social media where they didn't even understand the nature of Nichelle Nichols' character, They didn't even understand the nature of Uhura's character, her designation, or even her university training. The fact that she was an astronaut, primarily an astronaut, that she was in charge of her department, that she was fourth in charge, and that she was a communications and technology scholar, and that she was rewiring the entire bridge, and that Spock told her that there was no one on the ship more capable of rewiring the entire bridge than her. And he included himself in that. The fact that people are unaware of that stuff online, and yet they act like experts on social media, actually scares me. It scares me because these people are delusional. Like, totally delusional.
Yeah.
And so in that way, like, I think you are setting Star Trek free because you're the one who decided to host all these conversations. You realized what a gigantic poop disturber I was going to be, and that I was going to say stuff that made people upset because you hung around with me for like 6 months before I wound up on your show, or like maybe 8 months. And you knew that I was like saying to people, like, what you're saying is like delusional, dude. Just telling people that on social media, showing them the receipts, and they would get so angry. You know, what do you do?
Hey, Joe's Atmosphere. What's up, buddy?
Joe's Atmosphere.
Good to see you. Kal-El says, I completely agree. Since revisiting and reviewing the episodes on Saturday Night Star Trek, I found that I enjoy the discussions about the series more than the series itself. Well, thank you, man. You're too kind to say that, but I appreciate it. I'm having like I said, I've always said this about anything when it comes to the geek stuff is, sure, everything you read or everything you watch or everything you listen to, whatever it is, you want to always, because you bought it or whatever, you want to enjoy it. You want to love it. But if you have but I do believe, I can't help it. I believe in the critical eye. It's something that's important to me. So if you don't enjoy it, if you're a geek now, if you're just like Joe, public that just buys something, likes it or not, and then casts it off. If you're a geek, though, even if you didn't like it, you can get entertainment value out of it by looking at it again, analyzing it, talking about your opinions about it. So an episode that you really love is great to talk about. Like this episode, you go up and you have a good feeling, and everyone, and for the most part, people all like it. Not always agree, but but when you hate one or really, really dislike one, and you tear it to pieces and you go after it, it doesn't mean you hate the show. And others let's say if everyone kind of agrees it's a stinker, you have a lot of fun laughing about it. Let's say it's split more like 60-40 or 50-50, where some people thought it was bad, others thought it was pretty good. There you get a very interesting discussion. It's not more humor. This is actually pro and con. If you're doing it in a civilized manner, you can have an interesting back and forth. So that's another fun aspect of being a geek, talking about these things ad infinitum because we love this type of art and entertainment so much. So you get something out of it one way or the other. Whether you loved it, that's great. You thought it was you got something to talk about. You thought it was terrible, you got something to laugh about, and everyone, either way, you're getting great discussion out of it. And that's what's the most important thing, because none of us are sitting here watching it together. We do that on our own time.
Yeah.
But we talk about it later. It's the conversation. Geeks, that's what makes geeks geeks. In other words, people who just watch things are just that. I mean, they're watching whatever. I mean, usually most people, if they'll say to you, I've heard normies often say, hey, I saw this new movie. Did you see? Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was pretty good. Or, oh, I heard it. Was that good? It was really good. You should watch it. That's it. Geeks don't do that. Geeks talk about whether it's the new episode of some show that they're big fans of, or the old episode of their show they're a fan of, or a new movie, whatever it is. Geeks want to talk about every aspect of it. That's why you're a geek.
Yeah.
And that is why we love it. So, sure, it's fun when we all agree that something is really great. It's fun when we all agree something sucks, and we have that way. But it's also fun when we're kind of split down the middle. We don't always agree on things, but we talk about the ins and outs, what we thought was good about the episode, what we thought was not, what was flawed, what would have worked better, even what they should have done. We'll Monday morning quarterback them a little bit. But the conversation about the subject matter is what makes a geek or a nerd a nerd. It's what we live for, talking about it. Because otherwise, you just watch it and you leave it alone. You're not a collector of anything. Yeah. So
And I want to say something publicly too that people need to realize. When I first met you like 3 years ago, you said something to me. Like, I've known you since you were still on Blog Talk Radio, but we didn't really start connecting and becoming like really good friends till like 2 or 3 years ago. So I just want to say that one time we were together in private and we were just shooting the breeze. We were still getting to know one another. And you just said to me, why do these filth people, why do these new fans think that we all like love every aspect of Star Trek? And that really resonated with me because I was like, yeah, this isn't a religion. We're not going to an altar to worship. Like, Star Trek fans have always been like cerebral. Like, look at our demographic and our psychographic, even with television studios and stuff. Like, people know what we are, right? We're university educated, or we're naturally intelligent people who read lots of books. And, we're a demographic, we're a psychographic. And we've always been critical of Star Trek. I remember being terrified that TNG was going to suck. And when you started talking like that, when I first met you, that's when I knew that I could trust you. And that's when I got interested in doing the show with you. It's because I could tell that you had a worthwhile voice. If you love everything, if you love all 735 iterations of Star Trek and believe they're all perfect, then you shouldn't be doing a review show. And I don't think you're an actual Trekkie. You can't, if you love everything, then you love nothing, because you have to become passionate about something and realize that there are ins and outs, there's mistakes, there are triumphs, there are wonderful highs and lows, good, bad, and ugly in Star Trek. And that's one thing that I love about you. And you're the one who said that like 3 years ago. You were like, Raquel, why do they think that we're like a monolith? Like we all have the same opinions and we all just love this. And we're just gonna, drink from this pig trough. That's not the way it is at all. And you were right. You were totally right.
Thank you so much for that. And I hail everybody.
And I start something Eric said too.
Okay, I'll get it. I was just in a second. I just wanted to say that, I have met many, even geeks and fans or whatever, over the course of my long life of geekness that are become, and look, this is part of the human condition. They become a fan of something. I don't care what it is. I've met them, whether it's a comic character, whether it's a TV show like Star Trek or Doctor Who or Babylon 5, whatever it is, right? That they're just different. Okay, I'm not insulting them either, but I met some of them, like if they become such a fan that whatever the show is, it can do no wrong. There's no bad episode. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you even make fun of it or make a joke about it, that's bad. That's off limits. It's perfect. And they worship it. That's sort of a cultist mentality that I personally cannot understand.
Agreed.
I don't. I mean, every comic is perfect. I guess that's the same way. And it exists. I've met these people, and maybe you've met them too.
Yeah.
And usually when these people are, I mean, look, God bless them, as Mark would say. I don't, no animosity, but I don't understand them. I'll just put it. Maybe I do a little bit, and I don't want to admit it, but are just trying to be nice by not defining them. I just don't like that mentality personally, because if you have no capacity for critical thought, I don't really know if you're that stable of a human being personally. You may be a little fragile. I don't know. And that's probably, now look, I admit fully that I'm a hard ass, and I've been accused of hating everything. Basically, I'll say Clobby. I was about to use my fake real name. No, Clobby, and way before they were even calling me Clobby, he hates everything. You hate it all. You hate it all. I remember one of my last jobs I had a few years ago. 200-300 people worked in this big place, and when I would walk up to the front or something, I was the go-to geek guy. I was wearing a geek shirt or whatever, and they'd say, "Hey," they'd ask me about new movies and different stuff. And I have two different friends. They might walk up and say they always want to ask about some movie they've seen, right? And they say, "Hey, you'd probably hate it, but I saw this, and what do you think of it?" So wait a minute, you just got to telling me I hate it, but you want to know what I think of it. And half the time I haven't even seen it. I'm like, I haven't watched that. I don't know. I mean, but your presumption was I hate it. Well, because they basically have heard me trash things before. So I came up basically, and many years before that, I came up with this theory that people like to hear the negative, even though they don't admit it. For example, if I were to spend, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes talking about something I think is the worst piece of garbage ever, it sucked, rah, 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 it's garbage, right? And then the next 2 hours about something that I just think is the best. I loved it. It was so good. The people who liked the thing that I disliked, that's all they heard. That's all, and they didn't hear the other part. They're like, you hate, and if they hear, all they have to know is I hate everything. Because of that one thing that they liked that I didn't like. And they'll say, man, you hate everything. I said, and sometimes I would laugh and go, I wish I hated everything. I wouldn't have all that clutter at my house. I wouldn't have all that crap all over my shelves that takes up space, all those DVDs and figures and comics.
Somebody said this to you is because I have always found you to be a person who is evidence-based. And so, like, I think that those kind of comments are fair if somebody has an emotional reaction to something. But the thing is that when you say you don't like something, you go through it in a pretty methodical way. I dare say academic way, even though that's something that you always push away from yourself. But, that is what you're like. You say, well, Joe did this, then Joe did this. And did you know that Joe is from da-da-da-da-da? And you provide evidence, material evidence for your assertions. I think the only time people deserve that sort of, oh, you're always negative, isn't, oh, I hated it. Well, what'd you hate about it? Oh, I don't know. I just didn't like it. And that's what you see a lot on social media. One of the reasons why people accept proper criticism and why when criticism becomes good is when criticism provides receipts. Because when you provide evidence for people to massage for themselves and look at it, they can see how you arrived at what you think, even though they are free to feel and think what they want themselves. And so I feel a little bit weird about somebody treating you that way because of the nature of your argumentation. I do have to say, I can't believe I'm saying this on air because it's such a personal thing for me to say to you. But I do like your approach and your type of argumentation. I find that it is very good for rhetoric. And as you well know, I teach rhetoric at a college level. I like rhetoric like yours. You approach with your thesis. You've got your idea. You're ready to make your little argument, and then you provide 3, 4, or 5 pieces of evidence, and then you say, well, it's up to you what you think, but this is what I arrived at after looking at this, and I think that that's the cherry way to do it, and I don't think that can be torn apart. I don't. And if I did think that was you could tear that apart, my life would lose all meaning because I believe evidence is everything. But in the 3 years I've known you, I've never known you to say I just didn't like it. You're like, this and this and this and this, and then they did this.
Once in a while. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's just, anyway, I just wanted you to know I appreciate that.
There are times when I have problems putting I'm going, I can't exactly put my finger on it yet, but there's a reason why I didn't like that. Now, eventually it'll come to me, but there have been times that it will be a gut feeling. I'm like, something wasn't right with that. But then usually either I'll end up maybe changing my perspective or going, oh, now I know what I hate about it. But yeah, there are times when it's a little fuzzy at first. But my whole point of approaching it, and I thank you so much for all that, is I just mixing into the rhetoric. I want it always to be known that we're talking about a TV show or a comic book or a movie or whatever. So I always want to go to, at least, even if I really, really hated it, if I really, really hated it, sometimes I'll go a little over the top. So that there's some, jocularity in there. In other words, it's not meant to hurt anyone's feelings if they like it. So I'll go a little over the top and always try to, and I don't always make it clear, I guess. Look, if you like it, hey, look, I have nothing against you. But here's what I think about it. In other words, people can like whatever they want to like. I really do believe that. At the same time, I'm going to be merciless to it. Like the filth, I hate it. You know that. But there, and I hate Snyder, for example, the Snyder garbage, and stuff like that, right? But if a nice person likes it, in other words, if I know someone to be a nice person that likes it, and I do on all counts, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm still going to be brutal, but at the same time, I want them to know that I am coming from a standpoint. Well, look, I get that you like it. I'm not going to punch you in the face. You can like anything you like. Here's why I hate it, and I want to throw a little humor in there so they know we're keeping it, in friendly territory. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's important to me because I don't want anyone to think I'm being belligerent to them personally. Even though I think that if I think the show or whatever we're talking about is horrible horse manure, I want to at least let them know that I don't think, because I do understand that the universe is something we're never going to fully grasp, and there are going to be things out there that we're never going to understand, and sometimes the things people like are amongst them, and vice versa, maybe, especially things people like. So I always want to make sure there's some feet on the ground, like people are knowing that we are understanding that views just vary. I mean, miles vary, but as the kids say, if the kids don't say that, they used to, and they probably stopped saying it because I said it.
and therein, it's no longer cool. Thank you so much.
I hope so. I hope I uncooled it,
Fiona.
And let's see, I've got a super chat from Sean Carter. Thank you, Sean. He says that people think we love everything about past Trek unveils more about them.
Yes.
They're programmed to love the filth and don't understand what critical thinking is. True. Download and regurgitate, rinse and repeat.
It's so true. Like I feel like a cow with cud at this point, and there's no loyalty is deserved here. This is a corporation. It's a corporate team of people, and many of them aren't even writers. Some of them are like psychologists trying to find things to make you watch the same thing over and over again to squeeze every last penny out of it, right?
Yeah. And see, I've been saying this since 2009 is when all this really started.
Yeah.
Actually, a couple of years earlier on some of those old internet message boards that I thought about some other things. But 2009, when I started my show, this started really with a vengeance with Jar Jar Abrams' first filth-infested Star Trek trash.
I had to leave Facebook over it.
People that
I actually knew.
I knew people. Look, it caused me some real life problems, and I'm kidding. And I started my show on BTR for that. But yes, I hear you. We had a thing called Trek Space. I don't know if you knew Trek Space. Did you know Trek Space back then?
I think I went there a couple of times. I was horrified. I realized I could not participate in any of the boards anymore because everybody had lost their minds.
If you'd been there, we'd have been friends because I had a few friends there. Some of which I still have today, by the way. I'm still banned from Trek Space.
I would have been banned in the first 24 hours because I was no holds barred. I was awful back then. I was like, what are you? Because I was so shocked.
You would have been banned eventually, but we would have stayed friends. And we fought. I mean, look, that idiot Alec Peters, I think, partially owned it, but they did not like me. And they didn't. And everybody else who bitched about the show, I got blamed for everything everybody did all the time.
Yes.
The ringleader, when I don't know how I was. I didn't ask to be.
We weren't even allowed to talk about it.
Oh yeah, about 8 months leading up to the piece of crap movie, I was started all kind of shite about it, and you couldn't even talk about it. We did it anyway. You could, but there were a few people who say, "Well, I just want to wait and see what happens." I said, "Wait and see." Why a remake of the original show is fundamentally wrong, and no matter what, it's absolutely. Star Trek is about even though Enterprise was a prequel. It wasn't remaking the other characters. And again, you can still make a case that they shouldn't do a prequel. And I understand that, even though I love Enterprise. But a remake is antithetical to what Star Trek is all about.
Absolutely. And how you started is just by saying the fact that Spock can't be a mental. You can't, it's not a costume. Spock's not a costume. Bill.
Nobody can ever play
oh my God, Bill is not a costume. My DeForest Kelly, Jackson DeForest Kelly, he is not a costume. That is a person who created a character.
Right.
As a person who sat down with Gene Roddenberry, Gene Roddenberry said, I've wanted you all along. You're amazing. And we're going to, he helped his team build their characters together.
Those characters are co-created between Gene Roddenberry and the actors. And of course, some writers helped. But yes, so in the case of a character, this is what I started arguing with these people that they didn't understand. I said, look, Superman, Batman, James Bond, Sherlock Holmes, Count Dracula, I don't care. Fictional characters can be played by anybody in any actor. Fine. But these characters are different.
They're people.
Any character created on television by a creator of a show, writers, and actors can never be you can recast them. It just doesn't work. It's wrong. There's never no one ever will be the adult James T. Kirk with William Shatner.
No.
Ever. No one else will be the adult Spock or anybody else. Like you said, they're wearing a costume, and apparently it's a bad cosplay because it doesn't even look right. But we all know why, and it's just garbage. So I said from up front, it's DOA to me. Anyone else playing these characters are garbage. And I said, and even if I said, first of all, if your excuse is they're younger versions, I said that's one thing. But the fact is, you've got Sulu and Chekhov at the school at the same time as Kirk and Spock. So and Uhura. So you're telling me right now it's not real Trek. It's not even the same real universe by far. I love how people like to say, I don't like it either, but it's just a different timeline. No, it's false. It's all gone. They said it just changed when Spock came back in time. No, it didn't. It never happened. It doesn't even exist. It doesn't even belong in any kind of tangent timeline because the ages were all wrong.
Yes.
Everything was wrong with this piece of garbagey shit. But for years, I was fighting with people on that thing. To this day, there's still people who be like, I couldn't have liked it, but I see what you're.
No,
years later,
it made me leave Facebook.
I kept getting, I know you're right, but I still thought it was okay. And then when finally they started seeing what we were going to get with that piece of crap In the Dumbness, I laughed at them because they were like, In the Dumbness, they were all pissed off about. And then they were like, well, this sucks. Said, look, you made it suck by supporting the other piece of shit. Shit rewarded is shit repeated, folks.
Sean Carter was telling new fans that of the poopy stew, of the pee hard, of the standing cough pee hard. That same thing. He's like, when every time you play into this, you're just like prolonging it. You're making it worse.
You're supporting it.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get into a tangle over it, so I didn't get involved. But wow, I was sure cheering loud and silently, just because Twitter is a trap. It's a trap.
Let's see what this last starred comments here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, and I was it Donnie Pearson who made the joke about Bill is a great costume, Michael Myers. That was funny. Yeah, I started a couple of comments. I hope you don't mind.
No problem. Eric K. Hey, Bronzy, what you doing, buddy? Cisco's the only captain that committed genocide on a planet.
He did.
He said this is not Trek. Yep. Well,
and we let this conversation get away on us. But Eric actually mentioned that at a time when we were discussing the fans projecting their own feelings onto their own memories and their false memories. And so what Eric is saying here can get him into a lot of trouble with these people who pretend like they've watched DS9 and they have no idea what they're talking about. But Cisco, without provocation or explanation whatsoever, used a biogenic weapon on a planet.
Yep. And
He
people
never
say,
contacted-
people
he never
say
went to
they
jail.
evacuated.
Yeah, he never went to jail. He never went through any type of trial with Starfleet. The Federation didn't come after him. The Federation didn't go after Starfleet for it. None of that stuff happened. He just used a biogenic weapon. No problem. Yeah. And so that's why Eric was bringing that up. He's just like, like these people what Eric's basically trying to say in the context of our conversation is nice selective memory. Nice way to massage your own memories or pretend like you know stuff you don't. Some really, really bad, bizarre stuff has happened in DS9 that does not belong there. It sticks out like a sore thumb. And when I mean sore thumb, I don't mean like, oh, it has a hangnail. I mean, you pounded it like Fred Flintstone with a hammer and it's pulsating. Like you can see that it does not belong in canon. It doesn't belong in DS9. And some of it doesn't even belong on TV. When you're praising Sisko for what he represents and for what he brought to television, and that he's your greatest hero and that he's the greatest captain, one can never forget that he used a biogenic weapon on a planet and did not get in any trouble for it whatsoever. Not good, not good, not good.
He also said, Oliver Ilamonte said, I won't accept corporations that will resurrect our favorite late Star Trek characters, for new films and TV series. Too bad they only think about making money from pre-existing IPs. True enough. Fiona said, by the way, Rob Altus, good to see you there, buddy.
Hey, Rob Altus.
Good to see you there, man. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. Fiona said, RM, I know it was a while ago, but I loved how you made a real-life example that illustrated the importance of contemporary sources, because people's vision of events changes over time.
Yeah,
Yes.
people's version of events, they do change over time, and that's kind of scary. And Sandra says, well, Archer kind of committed genocide in Dear Doctor, sort of. But that's
No,
why I wanted to put what Eric said into context, because I didn't want to get into this conversation, because what Eric was trying to say is that when you start to see yourself on, well, this is kind of where we were going in that conversation, all three of us, me, Clobby, and Eric. It's this idea of, if you start to see yourself through Star Trek and the people on the show become your representation, and you go on social media, which we were talking about earlier, and you say to yourself, well, this person is an ist, and this person is an ist, like Gene Roddenberry, what a misogynist, and Sisko is my favorite captain, and Sisko is who I looked up to, Sisko is my hero, and you can obviously tell this person never watched DS9, because this person was cast to be a god, and I think there is actually some talk, I've read some rags that are saying that there's some talk to resurrect him in the Star Trek universe as a complete god.
It's already been done in comics now.
And so not only is he a god, okay, so he's not even a human being, but he performed a genocide when in the part of DS9 where he's not supposed to be a god, he's just supposed to be a Starfleet officer. So here we have a Starfleet officer, military command, in charge of a station, and he's representing the Federation, hundreds of planets, and he somehow just goes in his ship where there are, hundreds of thousands of people, or however many people were on the planet, and he's upset with them because they've sided with the Maquis, and he says, well, if you won't evacuate them, I'll kill them all. And he takes a biogenic weapon and he releases a biogenic weapon on the planet. This is horrible, and this person should not be someone's social media icon. This person should be like, well, Sisko is my captain. Sisko is your captain? He was the judge, jury, and executioner. That's why Eric used the word genocide, because he decided that the people on the planet were criminals due to their association with the Maquis and entertaining the Maquis on the planet, even though it included women and children, and he let the biogenic weapon go. And so if we start looking to see these captains as real life people who become our icons and our heroes, we're in deep trouble when you're talking about Deep Space Nine, when you're talking about the filth, when you're talking about these people. If you want to feel that way about Spock, go ahead. That won't lead you astray. You won't get yourself in trouble or wind up in jail if you're following Spock. But biogenic weapons and wiping out an entire planet of people without consulting anyone, and you're in a military organization representing the United Nations of planets, because that's what the Federation is. It's kind of insane. And it's a great example that Eric provided.
Yeah. Sander, my friend, I can't say I agree with you on that. Archer kind of committed suicide in Dear Doctor. No, he just chose not to interfere into the evolution of that planet. I don't think it's the same. I love that episode. It was certainly a tough decision on his part, and yeah, and there was no prime directive at that point. So I mean, hey, Keely Chow, roll tide.
Hey, Keely Chow.
So, but like I say, I appreciate you putting that up there, though, and I'm glad you're here. We're gonna start.
Kind of scary though, like you do have to admit that what Eric has brought up here is a really cool point, because if you're looking to Cisco and you're saying, I want to see myself represented on the screen, he's my hero, he's the best captain, he's guilty of genocide, what you're basically saying is that what is Q? Is Q a childhood hero? Come on. Like, people have to get real with this whole idea and their weird conversations that they're having on social media. They really do.
Oh, absolutely. I saw it, Sandra, but I'll read it for everyone else. But I can understand. I think it means understand Archer's perspective and understand his decision and why the prime directive would be the smart thing to have. Yeah, no, I understand. No, I think everyone saw it, but just in case, there you go. So you're good. Yeah. But yeah, so, well, it's a very late night for you, young lady. It's a school night. You've been up way too long. So
I had fun, and
it's always so much fun hanging.
It was great fun, and we were just joshing the whole night, just shooting the breeze.
Yeah, talking some Trek. That's what we do here, and I could do it all day long with all these amazing people. You guys are just fantastic. I could hang with you forever, and you're just the best. And we're just sitting and not. I mean, obviously, we're having a serious conversation about Trek, but we also have fun with it. And this is the kind of thing I love to do: talk geekness. I never get tired of it. Well, especially when it's with cool geek friends like you, and you're the best. I can't thank you enough, all, for being here tonight. Anyone who lurked, and also anyone who may have watched later. I mean, on a download or a rewatch. I cannot thank you enough. You're fantastic. And please leave comments, and please like and subscribe if you're of a mind to. Mm-hmm. And leave, of course, any comments if you have anything to say. I really appreciate that. So before we get out of here, I'm going to turn the con over to my wonderful first officer and see if she has any final words, and then we'll do some show notes and shout outs, and then we'll let you go. So number one, take it away.
Well, thank you, boss. First, I have to say hail to the chat. What an incredible conversation this evening. Super intense. I'm so sorry that we didn't get to everyone's comments, but some of the comments were just like such great conversation starters.
Yes.
And it got away on us. I wish we could feature every single thing that you guys say. I do read it. I do read everything you say, but to the point where sometimes I sound like a nincompoop or I act like a nincompoop. So I want to ask for your forgiveness, because I'm listening to Clobby. I'm trying to star some stuff, and I'm also trying to read everything you're saying. So thank you so much for the wonderful conversations tonight. You guys are amazing people, and you are also kind and smart and funny and just great to be around. And we're nothing without you. I mean, you guys are just great. Chris is here.
Hey, Chris. Hey there. Good to see you.
Sweetheart. I'm so happy you joined us. So I just have to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you to everyone who lurked. Thanks to everyone who's going to download this and listen to it later on. I know I do that on vacation a lot. I download them, so I've got them, and then I can go and listen to them off Wi-Fi. And anybody who's participating in rewatch or listening like it's an old-time radio hour and they don't have the opportunity to be in the chat, we appreciate all these different ways to interact with us. And so we just really appreciate you. I want to thank all the wrenches. Thank you for this marvelous job you do for us in keeping this community a wonderful place to be. We appreciate all of your hard work. Do you like classic episodic science fiction? Are you sick of being lectured? Would you like to discuss ideas instead of quote unquote corporate characters, and you just want to be involved with ideas and have a great time with classic episodic science fiction? Then you may like my stuff. Please try and find me and support my work. You can get my stories for as little as 99 cents. I have a new book coming out. I'm not publishing it right away to Amazon because the people who are here told me not to. And at first I wasn't going to listen. Then I listened, because you guys are always right. And so I have the stories over on Patreon. When the book is done, then the public gets it. Until that time, only this community is getting it. And by community, I mean CLOBBY'S community. So I love you all, and thank you so much for that. And last but certainly not least, I want to say how much I love you, CLOBBY. Ever since I met you, I knew you were going to be a precious, cherished, lifelong friend. You are so kind and forgiving and generous and sweet and funny and just so smart. And I love spending time with you. Thank you for making every Thursday and every Saturday the best parts of my week. I adore you, baby. Thank you for this
Oh, thank
opportunity,
you.
and thank you for this space. On behalf of the whole chat, I can safely say that they want me to thank you for this space, to do what you do best, and to give us a place to do it with you. So we love you, honey. That's it.
Love you. Thank you so much. You're the best and greatest first officer ever. This has been such a fun, fantastic, great ride, and we're just getting started, folks. So love it. And let's see here. Show notes. Tomorrow night, my good buddy, if you're a comics fan, as you know, I often I frequent my good buddy Nick Weiser's comic shop talk on Friday nights, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and it's episode number 100 tomorrow night. We're going to be celebrating with Nick and the gang, so looking forward to that. Then, of course, as you all know, Saturday night Star Trek is Saturday night, of course, coincidentally, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, same Trek time, same Clubby channel. 4 more episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 7. And hopefully the great Mark D with the C will be back from his mission, and we'll join him, and I will be joining him on his geekery, Sunday Night Geekery, on his newly minted, brilliant, monetized channel. And he is up in business now, so it's a YouTube partner. Sunday Night Geekery, 10 p.m. Eastern, where Mark and myself and other geeks just hang out and, well, we just geek, and that's all we do. That's all we know how to do, have a little fun, geek around. And I cannot wait for that. And, of course, I cannot wait to hang out with my buddy J-Man at J-Man, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, with our continuation on his great channel. He and the great Sean and myself, we're reviewing all of the Legion of Superheroes in chronological order of their appearances. That is, silver through bronze, 58 up to 89. 3 more episodes. And then Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. I don't know what I'll be doing, but I'll be doing it right there at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that's it for show notes.
Beautiful posters, boss. I'm sorry for interrupting you while you're speaking, but
thank you.
You get, when you start to wrap it up, you start to go really fast. So I had to interrupt you to tell you that I love all of your show posters for this week. They're terrific.
Thank you. You're too kind and too forgiving of an audience. Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. Let me shout out our wrenches. Of course, the great Eric K. Bronze Wrencher. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy. I hope you're feeling better, man.
I have new puppy pictures waiting for me as soon as I log off.
All right, cool. Nice. Vindicated Wrench of the North, the great Chris Persia. Thank you, buddy. D. Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Thank you, sir. Lord and Lady Thought. Avon lives long, live the Legion. J-Man, who has my partner in crime on Earth, B. Thank you, Leisure Reviewer Extraordinaire. Hungry Boy Master of the Clubboni, the great Steven Super Wrench. Hey, buddy. Maddie's Daddy, Real Rich Mjolnir, Thor in Vegas, and, of course, the great Fanty Outsider and Max Redstone, the Music Meister. Who else will share with us tonight? Hey, Crease, thank you for popping in. It's good to see you here so much. The great JT Kirk. The wonderful Fiona M. Thank you, Fiona, for being here. You were fantastic. It's just great to have you there. Hey, Ezra Goldstein, shalom, my friend. Joe's Atmosphere, good to see you, buddy. Brian Hepburn, thank you so much. The lovely Lisa, always wonderful to see you. Could not be reached for further comment. Always glad that you could be reached here, buddy. Sander Amislag, thank you. Rob Altus, my friend, great to see you there. Donnie Pearson, be good, buddy. And thank you. And thank you, Sean Carter of Mars. Oliver Belamonte. Always good to see you, sir. Keely Chow, roll that tide.
Oh,
Set.
and before we go any further, I'm sorry to interrupt, boss. I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry for being a jerk.
No problem. Go ahead.
I have to also say, because we have so much to do here, that Clubby and I have to thank everyone who sent a super sticker, a super chat, any of that, those wonderful gifts that you sent the boss. I just want to say, you on behalf of Clubby and I, thank you for supporting this channel and for those marvelous gifts. You don't have to do that. And so the fact that you do that is just so appreciated. You help keep the lights on this virtual comic book shop. And that's what we always wanted for Clubby way before he was even monetized. We just wanted him to have a virtual comic book shop where we could all walk in, grab a coffee and hang out with him and learn from him about comics and talk with him about geeky things. So the fact that you guys are doing that for him is just amazing to me. And I have to thank you for that. So thank you for all of those super chats, those super stickers, all the things you guys send the boss. We really appreciate it. And now I'll be quiet. Sorry for interrupting, boss.
It's all right. Thank you so much. What she said. Thank you. Thank you. Admiral T. Go right, buddy. Let's see here. Sometimes now I have to down to the point where there's vamping music to get to the Sander Hammerslog. Just make sure I got everybody. Captain James A. Skywalker. Lil Scotty. Hey. All righty. You guys are making me want to watch Star Trek with all these names. I'm going to go watch a real Trek episode. Original series episode. Let's see. Come on. Who else was here? Sorry, I've called most of them out already, but there's always somebody. Blood Philly Reviews. Hey. All righty. Well, sorry.
That's better than my. I like the buck. The buck.
That's from Robot Chicken. That's from Robot Chicken and Dawn of the Dead, by the way. It's a mix.
Made me do a chicken online in front of people.
Oh my God! I didn't. That's her. Blame her, folks. Write your letters to Raquel. Fletcher Williams. Hey, thank you for being here. Dave C. I think DJ Ronnie G was here earlier. Hello to Carrison. All right, Simply Steve, buddy. All righty then. Almost there, folks. Stay on target. Almost there. We're too close. Actually, I'm not even close to there. But don't worry. I'll stop in a second, everybody, because it'll take too long to do them all. But anyone who was here, hey, Pop Culture Republic was here. Indie Key Comics was here. Let's see here. Just trust me. A lot of people were here. If we missed you, I'm so sorry, but I can't keep everybody just hanging around doing this for that long. But so I'm going back on the chat. Michael Beacom was here though. Then Cassandra. Well, Cassandra was out there somewhere. Don't wake her up though. Yes, indeed.
Not if you want to live, according to Clubby.
What? Yeah. Well, yeah. Who wants to be messed with when they're trying to sleep? Captain Infinity. I didn't see Captain Infinity pop in. Hey, Captain Infinity out there. I'm sorry I didn't see him. I'm sorry I didn't shout him out, but I didn't know. He just put a face in there somewhere. Captain
Invasion
Infinity
of the Chicken People
and beyond. Yes.
Well,
everyone probably here has. Most people have probably watched Robot Chicken. So
I have not, because as you all know, I don't watch a lot of television. But
no, it's basically a show where they never mind. lemon pie. It's Joseph Dredd, Judge. Mr. Ancient was here, the chef. See, you go back long enough, you get some people that, X was here. Yay.
X.
All right. I think I got everybody. And yeah. So if I missed anyone, you have my deepest apologies. Claude Salling. See, at least now I know I got everybody. I don't even have to check. Oh, I'm going back I'm almost done. So, all right. Yeah, now I know I got everybody. Gwagnar was here. See? All almost missed Wagner. No, I got everybody. This one popped in when I wasn't looking. Okay. Thank you all so much, my good friends. Have a fantastic weekend. And we will see you hopefully on Saturday night.
Saturday night
is all right for a fight. Good night, everybody.
It's clobbering time! Clobberanimo! I just love clobbering time!